matter poorly.
If you come to court, they say you are disturbing court. Therefore, you must go to prison for disturbing court. So we don't know what to do anymore. But that was not the law. That was racism speaking. Magistrate Olivier is a racist of note.
Meanwhile, in the Johannesburg CBD, shops on Pritchard Street were forced to close this morning and they remain shut this afternoon as EFF supporters gathered in large numbers outside the Johannesburg High Court. They gathered there to follow sentencing proceedings in the Kukompo City Magistrates Court in the Eastern Cape involving their leader. At the same time, gates to the High Court remained closed as viewing screens where supporters have been following the proceedings block that entrance. EFF members told EWN that they are relieved that Julius Malema will not spend the night behind bars.
If he was about to be sentenced, I think things were going to be bad.
No, we are more than happy about the outcome because today we were never going to sleep until they give us what we want.
Let's stay with this story. There have been mixed reactions from political parties and other organizations following the sentencing of the EFF leader. The 5-year sentence does not take effect now as Malema was granted leave to appeal the sentence and released on warning. But the court denied his request to appeal his actual conviction. Nkosikwana Malingamnisi reports.
The Democratic Alliance and Freedom Front Plus were among the first political parties to react to today's outcome, saying the ruling shows no one is above the law. Their leader Jordan Hill-Lewis has called it a good day for the rule of law, but others have been very critical of the court's decision. SAFTU General Secretary Zwelinzima Mavavi says on X the 5-year sentence without a fine has left many in shock, adding that the principle of equality before the law was not upheld. Senior counsel and former EFF National Chairperson Dalim Mpofu, also on the same platform, questioned why the court expressed frustration at the logistical challenges Malema's case presented, arguing it could have been moved to another venue. Meanwhile, former MK Party MP Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, who's on trial on terrorism-related charges linked to the 2021 unrest, reacted on social media, simply writing April unrest with an emoji and question mark. Nkosikwana Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
We shift our focus to this now. Suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi has admitted it was wrong to send 2 officers to another jurisdiction to confiscate precious gemstones from a Johannesburg resident. The 2 EMPD officers are currently under investigation by police watchdog IPID for allegedly stealing the stones worth over 14 million rand. Mkhwanazi has been testifying about this matter, an allegation that he ran a rogue unit within the SAPS that conducted illegal off-the-books operations at the Madlanga Commission today. Thabiso Koba has more.
Metro Police departments are generally required to operate within their municipal boundary lines. For example, the JMPD can only operate within Johannesburg, and the EMPD must limit itself to Ekurhuleni and so on. However, there are exceptions which allow for crossing of municipal boundary lines, like in cases when Metro Police are chasing a suspect who runs into another municipality, or if there is a memorandum of understanding between the different Metro Police departments to work together. In the case of the Gemstones, none of these exceptions were met. The 2 EMPD officers crossed jurisdictions to allegedly investigate a case of a Johannesburg resident selling fake stones on social media. Commission Chairperson Mbuyiseli Madlanga put it to suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi that this was an act of criminality.
Do you agree or not?
Let me say we agree, and we must learn from this.
All right.
So that we correct the situation.
Thank you.
And I know that the department and the officers are listening where they are.
According to police watchdog IPID, the gemstones supposedly confiscated by the EMPD officers were never booked into evidence. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is urging social media bosses to step up online child safety. Starmer hinted at possible measures limiting children's access to social media. He has told industry leaders he looks forward to working with them on new safeguarding measures, but insists there needs to be a change. According to reports, the government is considering restrictions on popular social media apps, with ministers under pressure to introduce an Australia-style ban. Australia became the first nation in December to prohibit people under the age of 16 from using immensely popular and profitable social media platforms. While gold is trading at $4,812.29 an ounce, the rand is at 16.37 to the dollar, 22.21 to the pound, 19.30 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $96.48 a barrel.
In the traffic, the earlier accident on the N1 southbound just before Winnie Mandela Drive has been cleared, so traffic is now flowing freely in that direction. While if you're heading towards the Crown interchange, there's slow-moving traffic on the M1 South from Killarney Benz.
In your sport, Kaizer Chiefs record a 5th win in a row to cement 3rd place in the Bedway Premiership. Live Golf CEO insists that the 2026 season is on track despite reports of a funding crisis. And Skaran Dube needs to hang up his boots.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, EFF leader Julius Malema says although today was not an easy day, he is satisfied with the court outcomes.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
From the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between, it's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Enter now on Prime Media Plus. Let's talk shop.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon to you and all of you. It's 8 minutes past 3 on Thursday, the 16th of April. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. At the center of today's biggest news story, a crowded courtroom in Kugompo City.
After careful consideration, and I can assure you I have done so, free of any interference, this judgment or sentence is the sentence of this court and this court alone. In respect of count 1, you are sentenced to a period of 5 years imprisonment. In respect of count 2, you are sentenced to a period of 2 years imprisonment. In respect of count 3, you are sentenced to 20,000 rand or to undergo 6 months imprisonment. In respect of count 4, you are sentenced to...
Magistrate Toinette Olivier handing down sentence to the leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema. The EFF Commander-in-Chief has been granted leave to appeal the sentence but denied leave to appeal his conviction. The legal processes that will unfold need explaining. We'll explore those after 4 with Ntabiseng Dubuzana, and the political implications could and most likely will be profound. We'll analyze those after 5 with analyst Dr. Ongama Mtimka. In the meanwhile, your take on what the court has decided and what you think the consequences might be. Drop us your thoughts on 072 702 1702. That's for WhatsApps. If you want to phone and talk and debate, 011 883 0702. In other stories, new laws are on the way to protect you and me from spam and other unwelcome marketing intrusions. Duncan McLeod from Tech Central joins us with his insights into what's proposed and how it might work. That's at 10 to 4. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, as you heard a moment ago with Mbali Dlamini and with, of course, Tabiso Goba, EWN reporter who's covering this, will explore what's come up at the hearing today. Some really amazing revelations coming out throughout the duration of this commission about the inner workings, if you can call them that, of some of our police entities. And in the last part of the show, work like this won the artist Kendrick Lamar a much coveted music award on this day 4 years ago.
So I was taking a walk the other day, and I seen a woman, a blind woman, pacing up and down the sidewalk. She seemed to be a bit frustrated.
Kendrick Lamar from his album Damn, good enough for a Pulitzer Prize, which up till then had mainly been awarded to either jazz or classical musicians and never to anyone in his genre. But who would you say has written the very best hip-hop lyrics? I'm sure there's a debate there. We'll have it at about 20-6. On the markets, the JSE is down by 300 points today on a day when the gold price has risen by $25.50. That's the good news. But the oil price has also climbed up $1.06 to 95.81. The gold price has pushed the price of Harmony in a positive direction, up by 4.1%. Truworths and Naspers also having decent days, up by 2.9%. Rand is trading at 16 Rand 40 against the dollar. That's 3 cents stronger than it was this time yesterday. A euro will cost you 19 Rand 32, 4 cents cheaper than 24 hours ago, and 22 Rand 22 will get you a pound. Now that's where the Rand has really made good ground, recovering by 47 cents against sterling. Muteo Khwaripe joins us with all the market news at 4:25. We'll have sport with Tolakele Mganga. We'll get the latest news headlines with Mbali Dlamini. And Khumotso Munyai is keeping an eye on the roads for you. This is 702 Drive. We are live in the place where you live. And if it's happening in 702 land, you will get to hear about it from us here first. But there's always the chance that you've heard about something before we did, observed something that we've not been in a position to see, or there's an angle on a story or a take on a particular bit of breaking news that you feel we might be missing or getting slightly wrong. Whatever it is, please do contact us on 072 702 1702. And again, you can give us a ring if you want to chat on 011 883 0702. 702 Drive, it's 13 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So as you can gather, we're going to be covering all the big stories today. We'll bring you news when it breaks. There's always stuff that happens in the course of the show. But before we cross to Alpha Ramushwana down in Kugompo City, I have to tell you quickly about something that's been going on in our building. Jonathan Fairburn, we are hearing the sounds of music in the course of the day, not from any pipe music. We now have a big piano in the foyer, and it's raised a very interesting thing for me, I think, about what are the things you didn't know about your colleagues? Because it turns out some of them can actually work those keys.
Yeah, so we got this beautiful black baby grand piano that is in the reception area.
Yes.
And the reception area here is quite echoey. So when somebody starts banging on the keys, it radiates throughout the
fills
whole
the building,
right?
Yeah.
But I must say, I thought when that piano was put there, I was like, well, who's going to play it?
Yes.
It's a nice idea, but who's going to play it?
Not me.
And the idea was from the CEO, Jonathan Proctor, that it would inspire a little bit of creativity amongst the employees. So I think it was day 1 or day 2, we were sitting at our offices and then we heard the keys banging and it was quite nice music. So I went down to go and investigate who it was. And just to give you a taste, this is what it sounded like. Very good.
Yeah, and by the way, you are up close, obviously, to record it, but the way it filters up into the building, I mean, the sound is actually a lot clearer. You really get the benefit of the acoustics as well.
Yeah.
Who was playing?
That was Vaughan Taylor. He's one of the technical gurus behind the scenes and makes sure all the systems for broadcasting and all that are what they should be doing. So I was quite surprised that he could play the piano so well. And I went and spoke to him, and he said he had learned or taken lessons from a very, very young age as a boy, and loved to play it. So he goes often now during lunchtime and goes and plays us some lovely tunes, Mr. Munyai.
I think he should put out a big hat and we should start filling it with some with some currency there. I mean, it's great stuff. I mean, the question we're asking everybody is, have your workmates ever surprised you? And have you maybe surprised your workmates? You know, some people might think of a karaoke evening. Some companies have talent shows, but there are all sorts of ways. And you're nodding your head, Khumotso. I mean, how would you surprise us if you haven't already?
Aha! Well, you got to stick around for that.
Okay,
I'm
well,
not
we
telling
plan
you.
to. No.
But I actually, this conversation is so timely. I was gossiping with another colleague of mine, and they were saying to me, you know, I was at church the other Sunday, not at church, I think they were at a funeral.
Okay.
The other weekend. And a particular colleague who's much older, whose name I will not say, was preaching at the funeral. Yeah, and held an entire sermon. And the other colleague was saying, I was so surprised. I didn't think they had it in them because they're often so playful. You could never think that they even know one Bible verse. And I thought, that's interesting.
But it's funny you mention that, because I used to work at the SABC, and we had a colleague who passed away very young and in very tragic circumstances. And when we gathered for the memorial, there was amongst our colleagues also someone working in the technical side. And I mentioned that because he wasn't on air. We didn't really have a sense of him projecting. But he was the preacher at one of the preachers at the memorial, and he was a really powerful, it was that style of preaching, not the kind of, you know, perhaps slower, more measured thing. He was I don't know what the style would be. Yes, and so that's interesting that you mentioned that. So let's hear from you, please. Have you surprised your colleagues? Have any of your colleagues surprised you with a circumstance arising at work, or maybe you came across somebody socially or away from the workplace, somebody you thought, whoa, okay, didn't know you did, and were able to do those things? Call us with that. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Never too many surprises in the traffic, occasional shocks, but let's find out exactly what's happening on the roads. Khumotso, what you got?
Thank you, John. Fortunately, no major surprises yet. But if you are heading towards the Crown interchange, there is slow-moving traffic on the M1 South from the Killarney Bends, and it is due to an earlier accident. If you're around Johannesburg CBD, EFF members are marching throughout the city, so please drive carefully. Look out for faulty traffic lights that may also be slowing down traffic, like in Fourways at Winnie Mandela Drive and Monte Casino, in Kyalami at Main and R55, as well as in Woodmead at Woodmead and Woodlands. If you come across any other traffic, you know what to do. It's 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
You always dress so well in black.
I think it's uniform. You know, when you go to school, you have to wear black and white. So my uniform is black every day, and it makes life easy.
How long have you been wearing just black now?
Over 14, 15 years now.
Goodness.
Yeah, I don't even feel it's black. It's just the color that I wear every day.
So when you're on the beach,
it's black.
Your Speedo is black?
It's black. It will be black.
What?
Yes.
Not yellow,
No. It will be black. Yeah.
That's interesting. What was the reason for that? Like, did you wake up one day and you thought, I want to be different, let's go for this?
It wasn't even a conscious decision. It was a natural progression into it.
Award-winning fashion designer David Tlale.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
That's Liesel, before she got naked. Liesel checked her insurance premium and got angrier than the time a teenager called her Tunny. So Liesel got naked and got comprehensive car insurance and a way lower premium in seconds, all on the Naked app. There we go, Liesel. Get a car and home insurance quote now at naked.insure and see how much you can save when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising, really, from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit chang'anmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan. Driven to evolve.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual-action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple-action, pain relief. Andelex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andelex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andelex it. We said, let's talk shop. And small business owners answered, from the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between. Now, 702 and MTN Business want to share their stories with you. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Listen to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa and the Afternoon Drive with John Perlman all week to meet the businesses doing big things. Hear what it really takes to build something from the ground up. And if you're listening thinking, that sounds like my business, go to primemediaplus.com now to enter or nominate a small business you know, because the next business we talk about could be yours. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. Season more on primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
22 minutes past 3. Let's focus our attention now on Kugompo City. This, of course, the venue, Kugompo City, formerly known as East London. Of course, the Magistrates Court was and has been the focus of our attention throughout the day. Julius Malema, if you missed it, sentenced on 5 counts, the most significant of these, a 5-year prison sentence on count 1 of possessing an illegal weapon. Leave to appeal on the sentence, no leave to appeal granted on the conviction. Post the procedures in court, the EFF leader outside and addressing his supporters in the streets outside of the court precinct, and our EWN reporter Alpha Ramushwana was there. Alpha, very good afternoon to you. Stepping away just for a moment from the gathering outside the courts, I don't know if you've had a chance to speak to the legal team, any of the political leadership, but beyond the events of today, what's your sense of what next? What's going to unfold in the next week or so? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John. I don't think this is something that will unfold in the next week. I think it might take months. Possibly even more than a year. You would know that Julius Malema has now launched a process to appeal his prison sentence. He's taking that to the Eastern Cape High Court in Makhanda. And this means that Julius Malema, pending the outcome of this appeal process, remains a member of parliament, John. You would remember that Julius Malema was slapped with a 5-year prison sentence. And the Constitution says if anyone is fined to more than 12 months without the option of a fine, they are suspended from serving as an MP for 5 years. So this would effectively disqualify his membership in Parliament. But pending the outcome of his appeal process, John, he does remain a member of Parliament. So the appeal isn't something that's, according to Julius Malema, going to take a week, because if they don't get a favorable outcome at the High Court, they are planning to take it to the next court until they get to the Constitutional Court. And Julius Malema believing that it can take about a year if he's not getting favorable judgments or favorable appeals. And so it's something that's still going to hang with him for quite some time.
And just finally, and I know that the speech given by Julius Malema was a lengthy one, but if you were to pick out a couple of points, Alpha, that you think signaled the most important things that the EFF is going to be doing in the months that will unfold, what would you say?
Well, they believe that the state and both the court, in examining the evidence that was brought before the Kugompo Magistrates Court during the trial, they're going to point out some irregularities and some flaws. Number one, they believe that there were some racial undertones, so to speak, in the entire trial. They believe that the magistrate has also treated Malema unfairly throughout the trial. And so Malema says that he wants the magistrate and the prosecutor arrested and jailed. Number one, prosecutor claiming that he lied to the court. Number two, he says that the magistrate abused her power and was racist towards Malema throughout the past 7 years of his trial. And so he says this will also be factored in his application for an appeal, saying that from the get-go, the conditions were never favorable for him because he believes and claims that the judge and the magistrate is a bit racist towards him. And I think that's going to be interesting to see what the High Court in the Eastern Cape judges, whether or not they prefer to entertain Malema's claim that he is a victim of racism at the Kugompo Magistrates Court. So those are just some of the highlights of Julius Malema's speech after he spoke to during his address to party supporters.
Thanks so much. Alpha Ramoshwana on the line to us from Kugompo City. Let's focus our attention then on one of the day's other big stories, 27 minutes past 3.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
So, Thabiso Goba, a very good afternoon to you at the Madlanga Commission, where Julius Mkhwanazi, senior official suspended currently at the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, has been asked questions about the deployment of some of the people under his command to go and recover gems in an area outside their jurisdiction. Some tricky questions, I would imagine. What were the key questions asked, Thabiso, and how well did Mr. Mkhwanazi do with his answers?
Good afternoon, John. He didn't do very well, unfortunately for him. We've spoken, John, about the allegation that Mr. Mkhwanazi had apparently this rogue unit that operated off the bogs, that operated outside within the jurisdiction. And now we're sort of getting a bit of a picture of what they actually did. We know that there were this rogue unit, several key players of this rogue unit, this alleged rogue unit, were implicated in the torture and murder of a suspect by the name of Mr. Emmanuel Mpenze, and we know that IPED is still investigating that matter. Now, those same names are also implicated in this story, where there was, in February 2023, John, allegedly there was, Mr. Mkhwanazi said, he was given a complaint that there was a man who was selling fake precious gemstones to people on Facebook. Now, the issue is that this man was in Johannesburg. So, again, this was a question that was asked to Mr. Mkhwanazi, saying, you're the Deputy Chief of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. If you receive a tip-off about a crime happening in Johannesburg, why do you then send people to go cross municipal boundary lines and go investigate a matter that doesn't seem that it's a matter for Metro Police to even investigate anyways, but it's definitely outside your jurisdiction? But unfortunately, that's what happened. And what happened, John, is that 2 EMPD officers were accompanied by a private security guard, basically a civilian in this issue. They go to this man's flat in Hillbrow, and apparently they confiscate 6 boxes of these precious gemstones. I believe they are called sugilites, and they are worth close to about 15 million rand. And in the statements that these 2 EMPD officers gave is that they took these gemstones and they handed them over to the JMPD. However, the JMPD, John, has no recollection, there's no evidence, there's no documentation that these stones were ever handed over to the JMPD. But also, about a few months later, when IPED investigated the story, these 2 EMPD officers were later arrested and they were found with some of the stones. We know that the man whose stones were allegedly stolen, he said that the stones that they took were close to about 15 million rand in value. When those 2 MPD officers were arrested by IPED and the stones were found in their possession, they only found about 40,000 rand of stones. So there's still a question over whether the rest of the stones are. But then there's also still the implication of Mr. Mkhwanazi, because not only did he deploy these 2 officers, but it turns out, John, that he was also present there on the day, and he never disclosed that to the IPED investigators, and he also never disclosed it when writing a report because there was no report. So he also crossed municipal boundary lines to go to the scene of this alleged confiscation. And as you asked, John, that how did he do in terms of answering those questions, he hasn't been able to give clear answers except to say that what he did was wrong and that for next time, if there is a next time, they'll try and improve the efficiencies within the EMPD.
Thank you so much. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry still underway. As I look up at the various TV screens we have in our studio, I can see that Brigadier Julius Malema still being asked questions and still giving evidence. Any updates of note, Tabiso, I'm sure, will feed that into the news bulletins that Mbali Dlamini is compiling and is about to share with you right now. Right, let's get the very latest from you, Mbali. Down to Gompo City we go again, I believe.
That's correct, John. A very good afternoon. Well, there was a tense standoff between EFF leaders and AfriForum members inside the Gompo City Magistrates Court earlier following the sentencing of Julius Malema. Malema was sentenced to 5 years in prison today after being found guilty of contravening the Firearms Control Act last year. But Malema is appealing the sentence and has been released on warning today. Malema's firearm discharge charges were laid by AfriForum after he fired a rifle in public in 2018. Alfa Ramushwana has more.
That was the moment several EFF leaders voiced their frustrations at 3 AfriForum members shortly after Julius Malema exited the courtroom. While the standoff did not turn physical, EFF Deputy Secretary General Leon Matthys referred to the 3 AfriForum men as terrorists.
Because you are freaking terrorists and you don't belong to be even registered here in this country. I don't look at me, I don't patronize me.
But AfriForum's Jacques Broderick says the tense standoff shows what he says is the violent nature of the EFF.
Politicians are not above the law. Just because you're politically connected and corrupt does not mean you can do what you want to. This today is a win for every normal South African.
Malema is now beginning the process to appeal his sentence. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Kugompo in the Eastern Cape.
Let's stay in the courts. A group of men from Scotland who accuse convicted paedophile Ian Wes of sexually and physically abusing them are urging the South African government to fast-track his extradition to the United Kingdom. Wes made a brief appearance in the Simonstown Magistrates Court today for his extradition hearing. The case was postponed to April the 28th after it emerged that the senior prosecutor was ill. Wes is accused of abusing more than 60 boys in Scotland, where he taught in the 1960s and 70s. Some of his accusers travelled to South Africa to attend today's court proceedings. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
Neil Douglas, who attended Edinburgh Academy in the 1970s, says he feels let down by delays in the case, which has been ongoing since 2019.
The system is protecting the convicted paedophile and he has walked out of here free. He hasn't had to answer to it. I'm gutted, disgusted and upset.
George Scott says the South African justice system is failing them.
I just cannot believe that this kick down the can, kick into the long grass, keeps happening.
Roy Harangi has also expressed disappointment at the latest postponement.
South African judicial system, it leaves a lot to be desired, and today is just another example. And quite frankly, it doesn't surprise me what happened today.
Wes has already been convicted of indecently assaulting a former pupil in Cape Town and is expected to be sentenced next month. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And the DA is demanding a parliamentary inquiry into Eskom's distribution agency agreements. DA Electricity and Energy spokesperson Kevin Mileham says only 3 highly indebted municipalities have signed the agreements and the rollout has been stalled by legal challenges. The agreements allow Eskom to take over electricity revenue collection and management to resolve the over 105 billion rand in municipal debt. Mileham says he will write to the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Electricity and Energy, Zama Kanyase, to demand a comprehensive inquiry into the rollout.
So the DA calls on the Portfolio Committee to summon Eskom for a comprehensive report on DAAs. Eskom must account for the lack of progress in signing these agreements, and we need a transparent breakdown of revenue collected versus infrastructure reinvestment in the 3 pilot sites. We also need to solicit feedback on municipal pressure points. We must determine whether these agreements are technically viable.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 25 degrees.
In the traffic, expect delays on the M1 South from the Killarney Bends heading towards the Crown Interchange. And in Paulshof, traffic is sluggish on the N1 South between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive.
The top story in EWN, there has been a tense standoff between EFF leaders and AfriForum members inside the Gukompo City Magistrates Court following the sentencing of EFF leader Julius Malema.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Does it say, I get it, the law is the law. I'm not at all justifying, explaining, minimizing. I get it. Do you then start thinking of Malema as a criminal? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Mateo?
My thing is, if you're Bongani Bingwa, there's a party at your house in your neighborhood and you fire a shot in the air and you get arrested as a first-time offender, normal citizen, you're likely to get a fine or suspended sentence, no?
Yeah. Slap on the wrist.
Are we hoping that in this case, the punishment is harder purely because this is a politician we're dealing with?
On the other hand, you then say, hang on, but you are a politician, you're a legislator. You're the one, you're part of framing those laws.
Sure.
You should know better. Yo, to call him a criminal.
No.
You? Zwakhe in Dawn Park, your thoughts?
Julius is a convicted criminal. He was convicted, he was found guilty. So that there's no two ways about it.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
702 and MTN Business are celebrating small business owners who really walk that entrepreneurial talk, proving that big things can grow from bold ideas. It's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards, and standout SMEs are stepping into the spotlight, from the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between. Tune in to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa and the Afternoon Drive with me, John Perlman, every weekday to meet our finalists and hear their stories. And if you're running a small business or know one that should be part of this conversation, there is still time to enter or nominate someone at primemediaplus.com, because the next business we talk about could be yours and you have no idea who could be listening. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
The Bet Blast is on with Hollywood Bets and Bet Games. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million rand from the 1st to the 30th of April 2026. The fresh, funky games in the Bet Games portfolio will set your pulse racing while offering many chances for big wins. Bet 2 rand or more on slots, 10 rand or more on crash games, and 10 rand or more on live casino games to be in the running to reap rich rewards. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
How's it, John? It's Garth. I'm in Rivonia. What I really find amusing with Julius Malema is he's very quick to tell everybody they need to go to jail. You will go to jail. They must send them straight to jail. You must go to jail. Everybody, except him. So, yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it. If you want everybody else to go to jail, then if you do something wrong, you must go to jail too.
Hey, afternoon, Tate John. O'Brien for Sloras. Tate John, the sentence of Malema was really unnecessary. In fact, the whole court case, Malema was supposed just these 8 years to go back to his supporters and make a petition, apologize for putting their lives in danger. He was not going to get these 5 years that he's getting today. And still on that, Tate John, can you explain, because we see 5 years, 2 years, then we see 3, how many? Yeah, it's 60,000. no, it's 20,000 or 6 months, 3 of them. How does this thing run? Did he get 7 years? He must pay 60,000, or just someone to break it down for us. Thank you, Dr. John.
Yeah, thank you. So there's a concept of concurrence, that sentences are served concurrently, even though there might be individual sentences for particular offences. But let me not stick my toe or even go all the way up to my ankle on a subject about which other people know far more than me, including our 10 past 4 guest, and Tabiseng Dubazana, beg your pardon, is director of Dubazana Attorneys. She's with us to explain exactly those kinds of things. I've got a few questions of my own as well, so please stay tuned for that coming up shortly. 19 minutes now to 4 o'clock.
EWN Sport.
So Kaizer Chiefs, 5 wins in a row. I know that they're not as close to the top as they'd like to be, Tolakele, but as a Chiefs fan, I mean, they're not a bad season, would you say?
Not really, John. I mean, statistically, if you look at the fact that they finished outside the top 8, you would say them being third is an achievement. But at the end of the day, it's Kaizer Chiefs. You should never just be looking to finish high on the log. There needs to be trophies in the cabinets at the end of the season.
Yeah, well, at least there's space for all those trophies still to come.
Wow, John. And Kaizer Chiefs made it 5 wins in a row with a comfortable 4-1 victory over rock bottom Magesi in the Bedway Premiership last night. Wandile Duba was among the goals and also named man of the match as the Glamour Boys boosted their CAF Confed Cup qualification hopes. Khalil Ben Youssef's side are now 6 points clear of Amazulu in third position and have a game in hand.
The most important thing that the performance came before the performance was there. We discussed a lot about the mentality that we have to play to prepare ourselves mentally for this game, because it will be a difficult game. But I'm so proud about the mentality that we show and the spirit that we show in the pitch. Also, I'm proud of the player coming from injury and coming from the bench. Always they give us support, they give us what we ask from them.
Bayern Munich and Real Madrid played out a classic match in the second leg of the UEFA Champions League quarter-final, which the Bavarians won 4-3. That result allowed for them to progress 6-4 in aggregate to set up a semi-final with holders PSG, while Arsenal will take on Atletico Madrid in the other game. Vincent Kompany had this reaction to his team's success against the Record Champions League winners.
I remember we beat Blackburn twice in Burnley. Nobody in this room you will actually want to compare it with the game today. But it was amazing. I've experienced so much as a player, and this was incredible. So of course for Bayern Munich this game is an amazing feeling. But I don't think you wait for Real Madrid to then say, okay, this is going to be the best feeling. You have to get it out of other things as well. And I try to live every moment as much as I can. So I'm happy now. This is in the moment, and tomorrow I can focus on the next game.
Stormers hooker Skarantubeni says the time is right for him to retire from rugby after playing more than 100 times for the Cape-based side. Dubeni was kept by the Springboks in 2019 against Argentina, having made his debut in 2011. He'll remain part of the squad until the end of the season, starting with Saturday's United Rugby Championship clash against Canucks.
Dubbo and I have been having a chat, I think, since earlier this year, and sort of been like a season for me to taper down, and probably I think it'll be nice also to play potentially my last game here at Judicial Stadium. So I think, I knew this day was going to come. I think these last few months just came quicker than I thought. But I think I'm content and I'm happy. And I really enjoyed my run over here.
And Live Golf CEO Scott O'Neill has tried to squash speculation about the league's financial future with a memo to his staff saying that the 2026 season will continue as planned without interruption and at full throttle. The memo was sent to the Associated Press following a day of reports suggesting that Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund was on the verge of cutting its financial backing of the league. O'Neill's email didn't say whether Live Golf will continue beyond the season, although players were told at a previous event that funding is in place until at least 2032. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
702 Drive. Right, let's get out onto the roads where some of you are trying to make your way home. If you're on the N3 South, you may have some problems. Tell us exactly where.
Thank you, John. If you are traveling on the N3 South, anticipate heavy delays from Marlborough Drive to Linksfield Road. This is due to an accident. You can also expect delays on the M1 South from the Killarney Bends heading towards the Crown interchange. And if you are in Centurion, traffic is congested on the N1 South, also due to an accident at John Forster Drive. So please drive carefully as you head into that stretch. Look out for 40 traffic lights in Randburg at Malibongwe and CR Swart, in Rand Park Ridge at the N1 South in Beyers Nodia, and in Tshwane, there are also 40 traffic lights in Centurion at John Forster Drive and the N1, and in Centurion at the N1 and Witch Hazel. More updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
From the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between. It's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Enter now on Prime Media Plus. Let's talk shop.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive. So we were just drawing on the wonderful experience, really, of what's happening in our building. They've placed a grand piano in our reception area, kind of close to where people go for coffee and lunch and breakfast, I guess, if you're in early enough. But the acoustics in the building mean that whoever's playing the piano, and there are some really good piano players here, it would seem, we can hear it quite wonderfully well in different parts of the building, particularly close to where I sit. So the question I was asking is, have you ever surprised your colleagues at work with something you can do that they didn't know you could do? Or maybe one of your colleagues has really amazed you. Dr. Odwa sends this. He says, John, my whole life is such a surprise, as you mentioned. The latest is me starting to draw on emergency department notepad backs to being told I should take art as my new calling. So I guess Dr. Odwa working in an emergency department, either private or public, using the backs of the notebooks to do some art, and people are saying, you know what, why don't you do that, Doc? Great stuff. How about you, Tolakele? If you were to amaze us, how would you amaze us? Alternatively, if a colleague has really surprised you, tell us the story, please.
I am amazing every day, first of all, John. How dare you? But every winter, I go through a phase where I rediscover my love of baking.
Oh.
They love it upstairs at EWN. The only issue is when they put me under pressure and they start putting in their special requests. Like the one that always gets requested is the chocolate chip cookies. Even Mateo Juaripe. Mind you, he works in the morning.
Yes.
He will come in later in the afternoon when I'm on shift to be like, hey, where's my stash of cookies? And I'm just like, please, guys, it's so much pressure. Nogukanya Mtambo, a former colleague of ours, she loves banana bread. Every Monday would say to me, where's my specially made banana bread? Because she wanted her own loaf and then everybody else had to share a different loaf. So I might be forced to surprise them again this year with it, but I'm not doing it out of enjoyment. That's the issue.
Okay, so here's the thing.
No,
you
John.
could surprise me by giving me one cookie. Sorry, Khumutso.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Have you ever
Never
benefited from this genius?
This is great, John. Yeah.
No.
John, do you understand? I'll never forget the time where I had picked 3 cookies per bag for everyone, and I counted everybody in the office. And I think Mikey Mulapo was absent that day. And then someone said, oh, I'll take her packet. She was angry with me.
Yes.
No, I will do my best. I will do my best.
Who loves you more? Me and Khumotso
or
Mateo Juaripe?
Mateo would argue that he loves me more.
Okay, right. Okay. Well, if it's love or money, I have cash. Tolakele, the master baker, will be back with more sports a little bit later in the show. How have you amazed colleagues? How have they amazed you? Give us a call on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. Maybe it happened at a karaoke evening. Who knows? It could have been because your company decided to have a talent show, or maybe they've just surprised you in other ways. I'd love to hear those stories, please. 072 702 1702. 10 to 4.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Well, the one thing you don't want to get surprised by, and I guess it happens so often that it is no longer a surprise, is those calls from people who you absolutely do not know, but are getting in touch to sell you something. Well, some relief may be on the way, and it could be in the form of new regulations for the direct marketing industry, regulations gazetted by Trade, Industry and Competition Minister Parks Tau. The changes will be made to the Consumer Protection Act, and they seem to certainly have teeth. It doesn't look all gums to me, but let's talk to someone who's studied it a little bit more closely than I have. He's the editor and founder at Tech Central. Duncan McLeod, welcome to 702 Drive. A couple of things: registration with the National Consumer Commission, you highlight in the piece you've written, but also the scrubbing of databases. Let's start with the scrubbing of databases, which sounds perhaps more effective than registration. What does that involve? Good afternoon to you.
Yes, hi there, John. A bunch of new rules in these regulations that were signed by Parks Tau, the Trade Minister, yesterday and published in the Government Gazette, and which come into force immediately. And you're right, one of those requirements is that marketers are required to, I think the term they used is cleanse their databases every 30 days against the NCC's, that's the National Consumer Commission's, opt-out registry. That means if you've gone to that registry and put down your name and your phone number, you have effectively registered a block on your number, preventing direct marketers from calling you. So if you're in that database, in theory, you should not receive spam calls. In practice, however, it's not clear whether this is going to stop the practice. Again, I think the regulations are great, but I think the enforcement is where the rubber may not hit the road on this one. There is going to be this opt-out registry operated by the National Consumer Commission, but whether the companies involved in these spam calls abide by these regulations and abide by this registry and do what's required under these regulations, I think is very much open to question.
I'm imagining that a few lawyers are thinking, well, that sounds like quite a blunt instrument that could be subject to legal challenge. So I may want to opt out of certain kind of products being sold to me, but I may want to remain on a database that reminds me of the opportunity to buy well-priced, good quality red wine, for example, or wants to inform me of specials at last minute to go somewhere nice in the bush. I mean, does it allow for that, or is it kind of, I don't want anything at all?
So my understanding of it is if you opt in for marketing communications, or if you're a client of a company and you've signed an agreement that says you may receive communications from the company, then that company is entitled to send you marketing material. So it's certainly not a case of a blanket ban, but the attempt in these regulations is to hand more power to the consumer and take away or try and deal with the spam call issue, which has really become a nuisance for so many people. Yes. I don't know about you, John, but at least half the phone calls I receive these days are marketing calls. It's terrible.
No, absolutely.
And I think what's happening is South Africans are not answering their phones anymore. If they see a number on their device and they don't recognize it, they just let it go to voicemail, just don't answer. And it's a problem because it could be a legitimate call, it could be an emergency. But people aren't taking calls because they're just being inundated with spam. It's a terrible plague.
Indeed. Okay, so we're moving into the area of please don't call me, having walked that long road on something similar but completely different. Tell me this, Duncan. I mean, direct marketers must register with the National Consumer Commission. I would imagine a register is only useful if you have the tools to do something with that register, and if the penalties for not registering are in some way material.
Yeah, exactly. I think the real challenge here is whether the big question to ask here is whether the National Consumer Commission is adequately resourced to be able to deal with this, whether it's operationally ready to run the registry. And I haven't had that conversation with them, but I do know that the Commission has certainly been resource constrained in the past. And there's no clarity yet on when consumers are actually going to be able to register these or pre-register their number blocks on this database. So there are a lot of questions that are unanswered at this stage, but the regulations have taken effect with immediate effect. So I think we're in an interim period now where there's a lot of confusion, and I guess the NCC is going to have to explain to the public how this database is going to work exactly, and how you do this. It should also be mentioned, of course, that this isn't the first attempt in South Africa to deal with this issue. We have the Protection of Personal Information Act, which is a piece of legislation enforced by the information regulator, and they've got similar rules. I haven't looked them up for this interview, but they've also got similar rules about you being able to opt out of direct marketing communication and that sort of thing. And the plague has continued. So my concern with this is, the intention is great, and clearly something needs to be done because this is a problem that's affecting all South Africans.
Right.
But is the enforcement going to be there? Is the regulator strong enough to enforce these regulations? And that's where the big question that needs to be answered. So hopefully the National Consumer Commission is going to say something about this soon.
I just want to turn to one more thing that you highlight, Duncan. Anonymous bulk messaging. Marketers must ensure recipients can identify the marketer's name, electronic address, physical address, and contact number. That sounds like a good idea, but you get so many degrees of separation between the originator of the message, i.e. the person who wants your business, and the company that is, actually implementing the bulk messaging. Would it be useful for me to know that this is coming from Spam or Us, whereas in fact my real problem might be with a major supermarket chain?
Yeah, these numbers people get, this is a problem. You really don't know where these organizations got your number from and whether it's actually something you opted in for at some point in the past. It might look like spam, but perhaps you opted in for it. So it's a really difficult area to police. I think one thing that bears mentioning is that, of course, we have an election coming up, and political parties have been known in the past to make a lot of unsolicited phone calls and text messages and et cetera, et cetera. So it'll be interesting to see whether these new rules have an impact on the amount of unsolicited communications that South Africans receive ahead of the election from political parties. Will be an interesting one to watch and an interesting one to see if they abide by these rules or not.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. Hopefully it'll work better than you must take down your posters. Thank you very much, Duncan McLeod, editor at Tech Central. Go to the Tech Central site. Duncan's written a very interesting piece about what the amendments to the Consumer Protection Act that have been gazetted actually say. And this is the work of the Minister responsible for Trade, Industry and Competition, Parks, Tau. 702 Drive news at 4 coming up shortly.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
The Midday Report at its heart is a current affairs show, but it really is a show about everything you need to know about and everything you didn't know you needed to know about. Our listener is sharp, plugged in, curious, has developed opinions, but is still open to learning new things. My favorite part is how witty, sharp, and funny our listener is. What we cover every day is breaking news, current affairs, politics, the courts, global development, science, education, popular culture, sports, books, and of course, good things too. I like to think of it as a lunchbox with a little bit of everything. What I love about 702 Land is that it is full of energy. There's always something happening, a developing story to follow. But it's not parochial. The 702 family cares about what is happening in the world around them and how we plug into that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Weekdays from 12 to 1 p.m.
This April, the Lyft Golden Ticket Hunt is back, and you have a shot of finding 150,000 Rand in flights across Cape Town, Durban, Joburg, and Pretoria. Clues drop exclusively on Lyft socials, so you'll need to be quick, watch closely, figure it out, and race to the location. Plus, every Friday, there's a digital ticket to be found, giving everybody a chance to play along. To join the hunt, visit lyft.co.za, follow the clues, and get cracking. T's and C's apply.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again. In, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The numbers coming out from the Pay Inc. Economic Index showed that the March 2026 figure rose to 0.9% to 104 points, marking a 4.5% increase over the previous year.
We're going to have the analysis for 2026 pre-war and post-war. March's numbers are still good. It shows, the tailwinds that have been supporting the economy still prevalent in Q1, but unfortunately from April onwards, the scenario has changed abruptly.
Independent economist Elise Kruger.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. This is EWN.
Malema threatens to take legal action against the magistrate and prosecutor in his case, and police probe the death of a minister in Burundi. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. EFF leader Julius Malema has threatened to take legal action against the magistrate and the state prosecutor in his firearm discharge trial. Malema has accused the pair of misconduct. The Kukompo City Magistrates Court sentenced Malema to 5 years direct prison today. He addressed scores of party supporters after court proceedings took place this afternoon. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
We must make sure that she gets reported to the Magistracy Council Commission because the prosecutor knew about the judgment before she could read the judgment.
During his address to his supporters and party members, EFF leader Julius Malema made damning allegations against Magistrate Toinette Olivier and State Prosecutor Advocate Joel Caesar. He alleges Olivier shared the contents of her judgment where she convicted him of violating gun laws but acquitted his co-accused security boss Adrian Snyman. Malema says his then co-accused knew before court proceedings that he would walk free.
How did the prosecutor know that accused number 2 is not going to be found guilty to an extent that he tells him to go and fetch a firearm?
Malema says he will file formal complaints against both the magistrate and the state prosecutor to relevant bodies. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Kukompo City.
Let's stay with the story. Police say nationwide EFF marches in support of Julius Malema have remained peaceful with no major incidents reported today. EFF supporters demonstrated across several provinces, staging pickets outside court buildings. National Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate has commended demonstrators for respecting the rule of law.
Public order policing units remain deployed across various provinces to monitor the situation and to ensure that all gatherings continue to be peaceful. These deployments are part of our standard operational approach to maintain safety and stability in the country.
We shift our focus to this now. Suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Malema has admitted it was wrong to send 2 officers to another jurisdiction to confiscate precious gemstones from a Johannesburg resident. The 2 EMPD officers are currently under investigation by police watchdog IPID for allegedly stealing the stones worth over 14 million rand. Malema has been testifying about the matter at the Madlanga Commission today. Tabiso Koba reports.
Metro Police departments are generally required to operate within their municipal boundary lines. For example, the JMPD can only operate within Johannesburg, and the EMPD must limit itself to Ekurhuleni and so on. However, there are exceptions which allow for crossing of municipal boundary lines, like in cases when Metro Police are chasing a suspect who runs into another municipality, or if there is a memorandum of understanding between the different Metro Police departments to work together. In the case of the gemstones, none of these exceptions were met. The 2 EMPD officers crossed jurisdictions to allegedly investigate a case of a Johannesburg resident selling fake stones on social media. Commission Chairperson Mbuyiseli Madlanga put it to suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Malema that this was an act of criminality.
Do you agree or not?
Let me say we agree, and we must learn from this.
All right.
So that we correct the situation.
Thank you.
And I know that the department and the officers are listening where they are.
According to police watchdog IPID, the gemstones supposedly confiscated by the EMPD officers were never booked into evidence. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Action SA wants the public protector to reopen the investigation into the Palapala farm matter. The party wants the office to probe the abuse of state resources in covering up the 2020 robbery on the president's farm. It says the original report placed emphasis on the conduct of the president and his personal protection unit, but the party believes the probe needs to be broadened. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
The public protector closed her report on the Palapala matter 3 years ago. The recommendations included that the head of the President's Protection Unit, Major General Wally Rueda, and another investigating officer who helped him trace suspects should face police disciplinary action. Now, Action SA says the IPID report is giving rise to questions related to the conduct of others, including Bajani Chauke, the President's envoy for Africa, who at the time travelled with the Presidential Protection Unit to Namibia in pursuit of the suspects and the cash. Action SA Chairperson Michael Beaumont.
His involvement in the cross-border mission points to authorizations in the presidency and are evidence of a conspiracy to cover up the Palapala robbery extending outside of the SAPS.
Action SA has already called for an inquiry by the parliamentary portfolio committees on the presidency and police to investigate whether there was a political cover-up. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And in Burundi, police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of a minister. It's understood Gabi Bugagas's body was discovered in a vehicle by farmers. According to reports, images show the body collapsed sideways in the driver's seat of the damaged car. Bugagas worked in the communications department of several national institutions before becoming a minister in 2025. The cause of death has not yet been determined. Gold is trading at $4,789.75 an ounce. The rand is at 16.34 to the dollar, 22.19 to the pound, 19.28 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $96.50 a barrel.
If you're travelling on the N3 South, anticipate heavy delays from Marlborough Drive to Linksfield Road. It is due to an accident, while in the opposite direction there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 North towards the Galulis interchange due to roadworks.
In your sport, Kaizer Chiefs record a fifth win in a row to cement third place in the Bedway Premiership. Live Golf CEO insists that the 2026 season is on track despite reports of a funding crisis, and Skaran Dube needs to hang up his boots.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 25. Pretoria 15 and 25 and Vereeniging 14 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, EFF leader Julius Malema has threatened to take legal action against the magistrate and the state prosecutor in his firearm discharge trial.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Small business owners speak a language of their own, and it's a language MTN Business and 702 understand very well. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Enter now on Prime Media Plus. Let's talk shop.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 4. It's great to have you with us. For the next 2 hours, we are live in the place where you live, and we'll do our level best to bring you the breaking stories and important insights into those stories as soon as we can. But please, if you see something we haven't seen, hear about something that we don't know about, or simply you've got a fresh perspective on something we've been discussing, You are also our eyes and our ears, and we love hearing from you on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. What we do know we have lined up for you is quite a few of you have asked some questions about various aspects of the judgment handed down in Kugompo City by Magistrate Toinette Olivier. This, need I tell you, in regard to the 5 charges faced by the leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema. We're going to get all those legal questions answered for you. Probably learn about a few questions we shouldn't have asked. That's in a moment when we talk to lawyer Ntabiseng Dubazana, who joins us from Dubazana Attorneys. Later in the hour, we'll be looking closely at another finalist in the MTN 702 Small Business Awards, and we'll, I've really enjoyed those conversations, I must say. Interesting things that small businesses are doing, and who knows, maybe you run one of those small businesses yourself, or you know and admire someone who's doing that kind of work. Don't forget, you can still enter the competition on primemediaplus.com. Go onto our website. The directions are straightforward. Who knows, you could be a finalist. Big night next Thursday when we announce the winners. Of course, the sentence handed down to Julius Malema today has important legal implications, but the political implications as well, I think, are substantial. What are they? We'll put that question to Dr. Ongama Mtimka, who will be joining us from Nelson Mandela University. But in the meanwhile, of course, you can tell us how you think this might shape South Africa's politics, if at all. 072 702 1702, 12 minutes past 4.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. I think just a little bit of humor to it. Normally, you actually get surprised when you actually see guys at the end of the year function, when the guys start drinking. During the year, they don't seem like people that actually do drink. We hardly ever hear stories about them drinking. You obviously know about some guys, and then all of a sudden they surprise you. So I think that's also something that, the fact that some people do surprise you at work, and you don't even think of that, but you're surprised. Barry from Evolve.
Okay, John. From what I'm hearing from the radio, I haven't read the judgment. I didn't even watch it. I was busy today. So what I'm getting is there were two there were two appeals today. An appeal of a conviction and an appeal of sentencing. The one on sentencing, of which is 5-year imprisonment, was granted. The second one, of which is a conviction, that means you sleep inside jail, I think, was rejected. Of which I think the bail application was made or granted. I hear there's a warning as well. Let's call it a bail for now. What does it mean about his MP position? Because if he's on bail, that means it's more like he has to comply with the bail conditions and other stuff. That's more like you're still under state or correctional service position. You have to follow certain conditions. So please assist.
Yeah, so my understanding is the bail conditions would not necessarily have anything to say about Mr. Malema's ongoing participation as a member of parliament and his being involved in the matters of the House. However, there is legislation around MPs that does speak to your fitness to hold that position if you have been convicted of a criminal act without the option of a fine. Now, I don't know whether that is stayed and held off by an appeal process, because clearly there's one that is now in motion, or whether this kicks in appeal or not. But we've got the right person who can answer those and other questions. We're all getting schooled here in the law, and I must say I'm enjoying it. It's 14 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Moving into peak time, getting busier, getting potentially a little bit more complicated. Never fear, Khumotso Munyai is here. She can't make the traffic move, but she can at least tell you where it's at its worst.
Thank you, John. If you are heading towards Midrand, you can buckle up for those peak time delays on the N1 North from Allendale Road. We also received a voice note from a 702 lander telling us more specifically about what exactly is it that's causing more traffic in that area.
Hi all, there was a bumper bash just after the Allendale turnoff on the N1 North, literally just in front of me about 5 minutes ago. So I'm expecting there to be some proper delays.
Thank you so much for that. If you are traveling on the N3 South, anticipate heavy delays from Marlborough Drive down to the Galulis interchange, while in the opposite direction, there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 North towards the Galulis interchange, and this one is due to road works. In Centurion, traffic remains congested on the N1 South due to an accident at John Foster Drive, so please drive carefully as you head into that direction. And you can start also expecting those peak time delays on the M1 South from Killarney Bends as you head towards the Crown interchange. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Aubrey Masango. Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Elon Musk, this sudden need to develop the rural areas and the poor people of South Africa by the entrance of Starlink to South Africa. But you got to ask yourself that if this country is such a genocidal, racist, evil country, why would you want to do business with those people? If the entrance of Starlink is going to improve the lives of the poor people in the rural areas, why isn't it not doing the same thing in Zimbabwe or Lesotho? We're not seeing too much development happening there.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Celestial Bodies returns to the stage after last year's successful run. It's a collaboration between Universe on Stage and Joburg Ballet. Celestial Bodies is a fusion of narration, music, science and ballet. It's a unique performance that tells the story of our connection to the stars and to the universe. Universe on Stage is reshaping live entertainment, merging science, music and storytelling that connects audiences to the wonders of the cosmos. There are 3 performances of Celestial Bodies at the UJ Theatre this weekend. 2 on Saturday in the afternoon and the evening, and 1 on Sunday. For more details and to book tickets, go to Quicket and search for Celestial Bodies.
Attention all shoppers.
Our supermarket shelves are full of unhealthy food. It's often hard for me to know which foods are good for my family. The information on packaged food is complicated and hard to understand. I wish we had easy-to-understand warning labels on foods high in salt, sugar, and saturated fat. We have the right to know what's in our food. Support front-of-package warning labels on unhealthy packaged foods. Sign the petition on healer.org. That's HEALA.org.
We at Monument Dental are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium when you switch? For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Coming up at 10 to 5, we're meeting another one of the finalists in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. Let's talk about a small business doing big things.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's focus our attention then on that magistrate's court down in Kugompo City. The matter at hand, obviously the sentence handed down by Magistrate Twanette Olivier, handed down to EFF leader Julius Malema. Quite a few questions that many of you have been asking. 5 different charges, 5 sentences on those different charges. People wondering, well, there was 5 years for the one and 2 for the other. Does that make 7? Let's get some clarity and let's welcome to the show Ntabi Singh Dubazana, who is Director of Dubazana Attorneys. Ms. Dubazana, welcome and thanks very much for giving us your time. I thought we could start, first of all, with the sentence that was handed down. And the first question we had indeed was about the issue of sentences being concurrent and so on. How exactly did that work in this instance? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, and thank you so much for having me into your list. So, what the magistrate, I beg your pardon, did was that she convicted Mr. Malema on the charge.
Okay, just a bit of a problem with the line there. You don't get much clarity on important issues on an unclear line. So we're going to sort that out for you and give it Nthabiseng Dubazana a real chance to get her message across. Of course, the other thing that has really come up, and I'd be interested to get your views on ahead of our interview after 5 with Dr. Ongama Mtimka. I think the reverberations of this decision, the responses, what people say in response to it, are going to have a significant bearing on our national politics. For example, does this shift things in the African National Congress, particularly in that section of the ANC, or that grouping in the ANC that is very, very much more interested in having a government of national unity or an equivalent structure with parties that they would describe as being on the left? I wonder if this gives them some kind of ammunition as a way of pushing for that point of view. But let's not dwell on that, because I see we have Ms. Dubazana back. Welcome. I wonder if you'd mind starting from the top, Nthabiseng Dubazana. I was asking you about the charges, the sentences, and the idea of concurrency.
Yes. So the charges that Mr. Malema was facing were that of possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of ammunition, discharge of a firearm in a built-up area, failure to take reasonable precautions to persons or property, and reckless endangerment to persons or property. Now, the court, when it came to count 1, they sentenced him 2 years imprisonment. Count 2, which is possession of ammunition, was 5 years imprisonment, and the remaining 3 were payment of 20,000 rand fines or 6 months imprisonment, all the 3 that were remaining.
Right.
So with that, she then said all these charges must run concurrently. So what does that mean? It means that we are now looking at the highest sentence of all these 5. So the 2 years, the 6 months of the 3 charges will run simultaneously with the 5 years. So effectively, he is sentenced to 5 years direct imprisonment.
Okay, so that, I hope, clarifies that. Now, Mr. Malema was given leave to appeal against sentence, but not against conviction. I did hear it said that he would then pursue the appeal against the conviction in a higher court. Is that an automatic right? Is it how does it proceed?
All right. So since he was denied appeal on the conviction, then he's going to do what we call a petition to the High Court. So he's going to petition the High Court to hear him on the issue of conviction in spite of the magistrate court denying him appeal on that particular aspect. So that eventually when he does file his papers, I think they agreed in court for 21 days for them to file their papers. So when he does file his papers in the match court, he will then file the petition papers, which will speak to the conviction part, and then the papers dealing with the appeal, which is already been granted. It's just a matter of getting the paperwork, i.e. the transcribed record and all of that, to go with the appeal papers. And then the petition will be entertained at a higher court to decide whether or not the judges or the judge who will hear that particular matter will hear both the petition on conviction and the appeal, or just one.
Is there precedent? Well, not obviously there's precedent because it's done before, so I'm using the wrong word. But are there patterns? I mean, when there is petitioning in the way you've just described, Ms. Dubazana, is it generally successful, or is it too difficult to generalize given how different matters and plaintiffs would be?
100%. So each matter, I beg your pardon, would rely on its own merits. So the judges would look at the papers and then they would give a ruling. The beauty of that is they're going to give a ruling in court anyway. They're going to give a judgment to give you a reason why they are denying your petition or your appeal. Alternatively, they'll give you a reason why your petition or appeal is accepted. So it depends on each case.
So let's move back, if we can, to the charges, because in terms, or the sentence rather, because that's where the road to appeal is an open highway. In terms of the charges that Mr. Malema faced, what were the sentencing options? I mean, I understand that some of the charges carry as much as 15 years, but how, if you go to the other extreme, a non-custodial sentence, what was the possible range that Magistrate Ulefia might have invoked?
Anywhere from what she did in the last 3 charges, giving him an option of a fine accompanied with a term imprisonment, alternatively a suspended sentence, alternatively a direct imprisonment. Mainly because the state, if you recall, in their initial heads of argument, made the error to assume or to argue that the charges that they leveled against the Malema also were in accordance with the minimum sentence. And that was not the case.
Yes.
So now they really didn't have reason to argue for 15 years looking at the case on its own merit. So they had to find case law that could substantiate all of that. And in my opinion, they weren't able to actually provide that kind of substantive case law versus what the defense team did. But still, the court chose to go with the 5-year imprisonment.
And just 2 final things, if we can, and briefly if possible. Mr. Malema's role as an MP, the sanctions that would kick in regard to being, I guess, broadly put, fitness to hold office, is that stayed by the fact that there's an appeal process underway?
100%. There's nothing more to add to that. It is stayed until the appeal is done.
And finally, our reporter in Nhlanhla Mabaso, Ms. Dubazana, was reporting that Mr. Malema was saying that he plans to charge, challenge both the magistrate and the prosecutor on grounds of misconduct. Is that a well-worn path that somebody who's been in a court matter can follow, or is this something that his legal team would have to put together? And if so, where would they take this? To the Judicial Service Commission? I mean, how does that work?
100%. So they will take it to the Magistrates Commission. They will start there for the magistrate, and then for the NPA, they would start first with the NDPP to take it there to charge them with misconduct based on whatever reasons that they would put together with his legal team. And then the outcome of that will then lay grounds to say if they're going to take it to court or take it further than that, or if he's going to open charges. It will depend on the outcome of those different forums.
Thank you so much. Real clarity there from Thabiseng Dubazana, Director of Dubazana Attorneys. Many of you had questions. Hope we've answered them. If we haven't, send them in and we'll see if we can find some answers by another route. 702 Drive, 27 past 4.
That's Sia before he got naked. Sia had a bumper bash and had to reattach his fender using duct tape and a prayer. So Sia got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance in seconds and can now submit claims instantly on the Naked app. No more arts and crafts for you, Sia. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Imagine a holiday where the only thing on the to-do list is enjoy yourself. With Norwegian Cruise Line, you can sail to over 400 destinations worldwide effortlessly. Visit ncl.com for the best deals or contact your travel agent today. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. T's and C's apply.
Get a free optical frame when you get tested at Specsavers this April. Purchase a comprehensive eye examination and get your optical frame free up to the value of 1,000 Rand. Choose your free frame from our wide range of trendy, affordable styles. Get tested today at your nearest Specsavers or book online. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
EWN Business.
Yeah, so I wonder how the markets have been today. Hopefully nothing too dramatic. We've got more than enough political drama to actually occupy ourselves, not to mention matters in the courts. Potea Khwaripe looks relaxed, but He always does, so that gives us no clue. Share with us what's been happening. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Well, the courts have no bearing on what is happening on the market, but we start here now. Stocks in Europe are following the trend in Asia this morning, trading higher as investors assess the strong UK GDP data and inflation data in the Eurozone. Now, markets also continue to keep a close eye on the progress of peace negotiations between the US and Iran. The Pan-European Stock 600 index was seen up 0.4%. The UK economy surpassing expectations with a 0.5% growth in February, while inflation in the Eurozone has gone up by 2.6% in March, driven by the fuel prices caused by the war in Iran. Now, on the markets in the Eurozone, the UK's FTSE 100 up 0.5%. France's CAC was also positive, with Germany's DAX also up 0.5%. Back home, things aren't looking too rosy. About 30 minutes out of market close, the All share currently down 249 points. Industrials are stronger by more than 0.5%, but banking stocks are down by close to 0.5%, with mining shares down by more than 1%. The likes of Valterra down 4.9%, Thungela down 1.6%, with Anglo Gold also down more than 1%. The Rand also in negative territory against the US dollar, 16 Rand 40 cents this afternoon, 19 Rand 32 against the Euro, and 22 Rand 22 cents against the British Pound. Price of gold up slightly, $4,798 an ounce, while platinum is slightly lower at $2,113. Brent crude going up 2.5% this afternoon, $97 a barrel. I'll have more business for you in about an hour.
Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news. We're going to hear from Muteo Khwaripe at about 5:25. But right now with Mbali Dlamini, very important breaking story in Bali.
Thanks, John. A very good afternoon. While the Eastern Cape High Court Judge Selby Mbenenge could face impeachment after the Judicial Service Commission dismissed a Judicial Conduct Tribunal finding which considered a sexual harassment complaint against him. While the tribunal found him guilty of misconduct, the JSC says it doesn't accept those findings and says that his conduct, in fact, amounts to gross misconduct. The Commission says it will now send its recommendation to Parliament to consider Judge Mbenenge's removal from the bench. The sexual harassment complaint against him was lodged by a secretary in the Makhanda High Court, Andiswa Mengo, who testified that she had been harassed by him between 2021 and 2022. We will have more on this story at the top of the hour. EFF supporters in Johannesburg have been making their way to party headquarters at Winnie Mandela House in the city centre this afternoon. It follows the sentencing of party leader Julius Malema in the Kukompo Magistrates Court in the Eastern Cape earlier today. Malema has been granted leave to appeal a 5-year direct prison sentence for discharging a firearm in public at a rally in Mdantsane in 2021. EFF media liaison in Gauteng, Dumsani Baleni, has commented on that verdict, saying the party believes the magistrate was biased.
This specific judge has long determined what she is going to decide as first the verdict to find the Commander-in-Chief guilty, and will pursue that somehow he finds him to sleep in jail, and which is something the EFF will oppose, will never allow.
Let's stay with the story. The Freedom Front Plus says if EFF leader Julius Malema fails in his bid to overturn his sentence, it will insist that he loses his parliamentary seat. The Constitution prohibits a person from serving as an MP if they have been handed a prison sentence of more than 12 months without the option of a fine, even if that sentence has been suspended. The Kukompo Magistrates Court has granted Malema leave to appeal his 5-year sentence, but not his conviction for violating gun laws. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The first two charges on which Julius Malema has been convicted does not allow the option for a fine to be paid, effectively making him ineligible to retain his parliamentary seat. But with his sentence now suspended pending an appeal, Malema can for now continue with his parliamentary duties. Welcoming Malema's conviction for discharging a firearm at a 2018 political rally, the Freedom Front Plus's chief whip, Heloise Denner, says today's conviction also calls into question Malema's suitability to serve on the Judicial Service Commission. Commission.
There is a greater onus on public office bearers to set an example of law-abiding conduct. Crime is already rampant in South Africa. We cannot tolerate this, especially from our MPs and our leaders in the public domain.
The party has also condemned the behaviour of EFF supporters outside court over the past 2 days, saying it had been opportunistic for the party to paint the case as a racial matter in order to influence the outcome. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And police are investigating the murder of a 54-year-old man who was shot and killed at a parking lot inside a shopping centre on Klipfontein Road in Rondebosch. Today, Cape Town police say they responded to that shooting incident just before 2 this afternoon. The police's Ndake Kwala says the man was shot multiple times while inside his car.
He was declared dead on the scene by medical personnel. The motive for the attack is yet to be determined. Anyone with information is kindly requested to call Crime Stop on 08600 10111.
In your weather, a cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 14 and 15 degrees and highs of between 24 and 25.
In the traffic, the N3 South remains heavily backed up from the Batlu interchange as you approach the Kilulis interchange, and you can expect those delays on the M1 South from the Killarney Bends heading towards the Crown interchange.
It's the breaking news this hour. Eastern Cape High Court Judge Selby Mbenenge could face impeachment after the Judicial Service Commission dismissed a finding which considered a sexual harassment complaint against him.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
The languages you wish you could speak fluently and why. Fedile in Senton.
Hi, Sissy. The language I wish I could speak was Turkish because I am married to a Turkish man.
Oh.
So whenever we with his friends or family, I feel so left out, Sissy, because I'm the only one who can't understand the language. And I just want to talk to my mother-in-law. I have a lot to tell her about her son, and I can't trust him to translate that.
Babes, wait. I need to understand. So, are you calling us from Turkey or are you in South Africa?
No, I'm in South Africa right now. My husband has been living here for the past 12 years.
Okay.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports. No more disconnected systems. No more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. istratgo.com.
When was the last time you felt something? Something that ignites your passion, gets your adrenaline pumping, and makes your heartbeat skip. When was the last time you fell in love? Introducing the new Alfa Romeo Junior with 280 horsepower and standard park assist. Learn to love again. Visit alfaromeo.co.za to book a test drive.
Let's hear from Al, owner of Johnson's Cable, why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance.
I thought it was going to be difficult to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance. Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
For electrical, tradesman services, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon. And, I do agree that we miss a lot of very important calls, You've been harassed, and this is your own phone, but you are being harassed. And you get a lot of them that I'm getting is press one now, and we'll call you back for a contract phone. And others will be like clientele, press one now for a call back. It's just a lot. And these days, they're not only calling with landline, they're even calling with cell phone numbers. And you're thinking, no, maybe it's a genuine call or something, but yet, that cell phone number, the minute you say hello, It says press 1 now.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing, that thing with spam calls. And by the way, we had a conversation about some changes to the Consumer Protection Act that have been gazetted by Minister Parks Tau, the minister responsible for this and obviously other areas of commerce, industry, competition and trade. But we spoke to Duncan McLeod at Tech Central, and he's looked very closely at these systems. If you missed that, go to primemediaplus.com. And check out what Duncan had to say. If you want to read what he had to say, go to the Tech Central website. It's 20 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
Some really good women's cricket underway at the moment. Proteas women up against India. Tolakele has the story.
Thanks so much, John. And the Proteas women will return to action tomorrow when they take on India in the first of 5 T20s. The game is a rematch of last year's 50-over World Cup final. While Laura Volpart has discussed what she expects from the conditions at Kingsmead.
Yeah, I think it's obviously pretty late in our season. I don't know if the wicket might be a bit on the slower side, and it's pretty hot as well, so it maybe suits Indian conditions a bit more than us. But I think it's a really cool challenge. I think they obviously have a lot of world-class spinners, so I think that'll be a big thing for us is how we play that and how we're able to be nice and positive against those spinners. And at the same time, it's a good challenge for our spinners as well to really put some pressure on their batters.
Mikel Arteta insists that results trump performance at this stage of the season after Arsenal played out an uninspired goalless draw with Sporting in the second leg of the UEFA Champions League quarter-final. That result sees the Gunners advance 1-0 on aggregate as they set up a semi-final tie with Atletico Madrid.
You have to be better than the opponent, and I think we have many periods in the game that we were there. We didn't score the goal, we didn't finalize the actions well enough, but we had many other things that are very important to get the result that you need in a tie. And it's at this moment as well about the way you compete, and when you're going to go and win titles, that's when it's going to define the moments, and we certainly done that tonight.
Khanyisa Mayo was on target as Kaizer Chiefs completed a double over Magesi following a 4-1 win in the Bedway Premiership. The goal was the second of the season for the on-loan CR's bowler's dad forward, and co-coach Khalil Ben Youssef was happy to see him get on the score sheet amid an injury-ravaged campaign.
True, I think he have been doing a lot, and he was unlucky a little bit with 2 injuries. Then he's back. He's performing very well in the training session. He's fighting, and he was a little bit unlucky last few games. He didn't score, but I think today it's his second goal, and he will help the team a lot.
And Springbok Women's Sevens team are in Hong Kong for the first of 3 HSBC Rugby Championship events. South Africa will be without their experienced captain Nadine Ross due to injury, but stand-in skipper Ayanda Malinga doesn't believe that's an excuse for them to drop their standards.
The senior players need to step up and show themselves that they are here and we are capable of playing without Nadine. Yes, she makes a big difference in the team, but I feel like there's also other players that they can make a difference as well. So we just have to believe in one another and just keep on fighting until the end.
Tolakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, at 18 minutes to 5, traffic should be getting busier and busier. Motso Munya is also getting busier and busier, and she's here to tell you what she's got.
That is true. Thank you, John. We'll start in Pretoria CBD. You can start expecting those peak time delays from the usual suspects around Hermanstad on Eskom Drive between the R80 and VWF Nkomo Street, as well as Paul Kruger Street and Steve Biko Road. If you are heading towards Midrand, you can also expect those peak time delays on the N1 North from Allendale Road. And if you are traveling on the N3 South, there's also some delays from Marlborough Drive all the way to the Giluli's interchange. While in the opposite direction, traffic is sluggish on the N3 North, also towards the Giluli's interchange. Be aware of faulty traffic lights in Rand Park Ridge at the N1 South and Bayers Nodia, in Fourways at Winnie Mandela Drive and Monte Casino, and in Randburg at Malbongwe and Jim Foshia. In Tshwane, there are also faulty traffic lights on Mountain View at Eskempatlele and Fred Nicholson Street, in Centurion at Old Johannesburg and Brakfontein, as well as in Old Johannesburg and Central. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Okay, let's pick up on a story that has just emerged in the course of the show. You may recall a structure called the Judicial Conduct Tribunal, which looks into a complaint lodged by somebody, Ms. Andiswa Mengo, who was working in the criminal justice system, in the courts, in fact. The complaint was leveled against Judge President in the Eastern Cape, Selby Mbenenge. Now, that tribunal found that the Judge President was guilty of misconduct, but it did not amount to gross misconduct, and they found him not guilty of that particular charge. That report then went to the Judicial Service Commission. They found that, in fact, the conduct, and I'm quoting their statement now, the conduct of Judge President Mbenenge constitutes gross misconduct in terms of Section 177(1)(a) of the Constitution, and they will then submit what they have decided and concluded to the Speaker of the National Assembly. I think it's an unusual situation, but it may not be. Let's get clarity from somebody who knows these matters well. Mbegazeli Benjamin joins us from Judges Matter, where he is a researcher. Mr. Benjamin, welcome and thanks very much for your time. This seems to be very significant. Tell us why. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to the listeners. It is enormously significant. It is the first time, actually, that the Judicial Service Commission has completely overturned a finding by tribunal. In the past, we've seen a partial reversal. So in one case, the Judicial Service Commission reversed a partial finding by a tribunal. In another case that had to deal with Nkola Mutata, they only reversed a part of the sanction. So this one, it is significant in that the Judicial Service Commission basically said, not only did the tribunal apply the wrong standards to assess sexual harassment, but they also were wrong to say this is not gross misconduct. They say that based on what the judge admits alone, not even looking outside of what was later said by the complainant, but looking only at what the judge said, it is gross misconduct that is becoming of someone of that position, and so they are recommending that he be impeached.
So one of the things that I noted, and this is in the opening paragraph of the JSC statement, they say the JSC, the Judicial Service Commission, they put it in full, and now read the direct quote, excluding the members designated by the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. The JSC normally has members of Parliament also sitting when they're, for example, interviewing judges. Again, is this standard that the politicians were not in on this conversation?
Yes. When the Judicial Service Commission is doing the work of disciplining judges, it sits without the members of Parliament present. And that's because later down the line, it will be the members of Parliament who will have to decide the judge's fate. So in any issue that relates to the conduct or misconduct of a judge, it is what is called the small JSC, which is only the lawyers and judges on the JSC without the members of Parliament.
And finally, Mr. Benjamin, what happens next? It goes to Parliament to do what exactly?
So now it goes to Parliament for the impeachment process. Unless the judge gets an interdict to stop it, then it will go to Parliament for impeachment. But in addition to that, the JSC has given the judge until 22 May to give reasons why he shouldn't be suspended, because the JSC is saying, we will advise the president to suspend you, but give us reasons why we should not. So he has until the 22nd of May, but in the meantime, the JSC will send this over to Parliament for impeachment.
Thank you very much. 12 minutes to 5. The thoughts there, and lots of clarity contained in those thoughts. We thank Mbegazeli Benjamin, who joined us from Judges Matter. 12 to 5.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Do we expect Julius Malema to take this on appeal on sentencing? Does he risk getting a higher sentence potentially?
He does risk that a higher sentence may be applied to him.
What were the options open to the magistrate?
To an extent, the problem for Mr. Malema was really count one. We were always going to have a situation where there should have been some number of years. The other options that were there, we've seen in count 3, 4, and 5 that there was the option of a fine.
Benedict Piri.
The Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Running a truck fleet business in this economy is tough. Fuel, maintenance, staff, the costs never stop. That's why I switched to My Way Business Insurance. Now I save up to 20% on my insurance premiums every month. These savings go a long way to keeping my fleet on the move.
Switch to My Way Business Insurance and save up to 20% on your trucks and buses. Real businesses, real savings. Call us on 0860 646464 for a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. Standard rates and T's and C's apply.
In business, missed deliveries cost more than money. Go Girl Logistics is South Africa's 100% black female-owned Level 1 Triple BEE powerhouse, delivering secure, time-sensitive transport for parcels, cold chain cargo, and compliance waste. With DG trained drivers, cold chain certification, national reach, and real-time tracking, every load is handled professionally, safely, and on time. Go Girl Logistics, power beyond cargo. Visit gogirl-logistics.com.
The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. This conversation is just the beginning.
Small business owners speak a language of their own, and it's a language MTN Business and 702 understand very well. That's why we're once again celebrating SMEs who walk that entrepreneurial talk in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. We're in search of small businesses that prove big things can grow from bold ideas. We've asked you to nominate your business or one you know on primemediaplus.com. We're still looking for more, so please don't stop if you were thinking that this has come to an end. Go straight to primemediaplus.com. Now it's time to meet another of our finalists to find out about their journey so far and discover what it took to make them stand up in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. Ever feel like running your business means doing everything except the thing you're actually good at? Like your clients love you, but do you love writing reports, emails, or even just organizing meetings? Suddenly, that is stress. But with MTN Business AI solutions, you can easily research, write, edit, and manage your work so you can sound professional, stay organized, and save time. Let's talk shop. Click on mtn.co.za/business or visit an MTN store today. MTN Business, Africa's leading enabler of connectivity and converged solutions. Right, let's meet our next guest. Wandise Boyd is the founder and the leading light at a company called Boyd's House of, and I'm going to have to ask him, Regalia or Regalia?
Regalia.
Regalia. Okay, I always say Regalia and then I get funny looks, so I should probably know by now. But welcome. It's great to have you with us. I've been looking at your website. You offer academic attire, medical scrubs, clerical robes, legal robes, and various accessories like certificate holders, graduation scarves. It's a business with a clear focus but a wide range. Where did you start?
Well, I started the business back in 2019 after I first graduated from Northwest University. So how I started the business, I couldn't afford the official supplier at that time where I was graduating from, and then I had to look for an alternative way to afford a graduation regalia. And then I jokingly posted on my status on WhatsApp to say that I'm selling a graduation regalia, and people started placing orders, and that's how it started from 2019 until today.
So be careful of what you wish for. So you've posted saying, I'm doing this thing. Suddenly everybody's interested. Did that mean lots of sleepless nights?
Only now. It's been a smooth ride, but now it's a lot of sleepless nights because it's bigger.
Yeah, I mean, tell me, why are you doing this? I mean, are you doing it because you love the idea of business and entrepreneurship, or do you feel that this is a space that you particularly want to be in? For example, that you had your own graduation experience, a very special day for you and everyone who's backed you through your academic journey, and yet stuff is unaffordable. I mean, do you have a sense of mission to go with your entrepreneurial goals?
Yes, now I do. Before, I've been doing it for a very long time as a side hustle.
Right.
But then now it's one of my primary businesses that I'm totally focusing on too. I am looking forward to grow to be the number one supplier in South Africa for both public and private institutions.
Tell us about the medical scrubs aspect of it. Is that regulated, controlled? Is there minimum standards that you've had to learn about, or is it a basic garment?
It's not really a basic garment because it's a safety garment as well.
Right.
So there are certain standards that it has to meet.
Yeah, so tell us more about that. How have you set about complying? And I don't know if you have to register in any separate way for as a supplier of that.
You don't necessarily need to register as a supplier anywhere, but there is sort of a requirement, sort of the fabric. It has to be comfortable and make sure that the people are able to move around when they are wearing them.
Yeah. It's interesting with graduation because my wife has had a couple of graduations and she always said the most important thing was the shoes, and that, everybody, knows you must wear the gown and they admire you for what you've achieved, but you've got to absolutely get the shoes right. And yesterday, coincidentally, we had a shoemaker who was on the show. Clerical robes, are they generic? Are they specific to particular denominations and faiths?
Yes. So the client would come with their description of what they are looking for, and then would have to make it accordingly. So it's not one size fits all. So there are certain patterns that have to be according to their designation.
Take us into your workspace. What does it look like? Who's there? Noisy, busy? Give us a tour, if you will.
On my side, it's not noisy because I'm more into the office side, and then there is a workshop where I have contracted a company that produces the thing. I'm not doing them in-house. So one of the plans to grow into is to have an in-house production, because now there's quite a bit of a challenge on my side when I have contracted somebody to make the production while I'm doing sales. You'd find that now the pace of the production and the pace of the sales, they are not matching. That's why it's giving me sleepless nights at times.
Or maybe you need to do sleepwear as well. That might help. But tell me this, Wandise. I mean, obviously business no longer has geographical boundaries, even within South Africa. I presume you're getting orders from Kuruman and Cape Town.
Yes, I am getting all over actually, and from other SADC countries. I do get some orders from Zimbabwe, Botswana, Lesotho, because other people, they come and study in South Africa and then they leave, and then at a later stage maybe they would buy their graduation regalia. So I have got a footprint across the length, across the breadth and length of the country.
Please don't tell me you're studying part-time and you're going to need one of your own gowns soon.
Funny enough, next month I'm graduating.
Okay, who's making your gown? You?
Myself.
Are you seriously though? Are you doing something special?
Yes, I'm going to make my graduation very special.
Yeah.
Next month I'm looking forward to it. Though it's quite expensive, but I'm looking forward. It's like more of a metric dance for me.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're getting some velvet and shoes, I would imagine.
Yes.
Very prominent. Tell me this though. I mean, what are you graduating in, and how did you manage studies plus what seems to be a growing business that, in your words, well, first mine and then yours, is giving you sleepless nights?
I believe that there's time for everything under the sun. So I was working, running other businesses, including this one.
Yes.
And then I was also studying. So I was studying postgraduate diploma in project management at Menkosa, which is my third qualification now.
Okay. I want to go back to a theme I was exploring before I got sidetracked. I didn't for 1 minute when I said, are you studying? I didn't expect you to say yes. But anyway, at least you're not studying medicine and you need the scrubs as well. But let me ask you this. I mean, you've got a manufacturing partner. Is there a generally well-developed logistics system? Because you're saying, yes, you're sending stuff all over South Africa. You're sending stuff around the SADC region as well. I mean, is that pretty much click? Is that straightforward for you?
No, it's not easy because I'm using third-party service providers into my business, of which now it's quite challenging. However, I am in conversation with other logistics companies to have sort of an in-house courier service instead of using a third party.
Okay. I want to ask you back to the gowns because it is such a special day. I mean, do you find that clients want something just a little bit bespoke? Maybe they want a little bit of velvet on the inside, or maybe a silk pocket or something. Or are you increasingly realizing that you've got to be, to some degree at least, standard and mass-produced, and that bespoke isn't always possible?
Not entirely to the specifications of the client, because the graduation regalia is quite prescribed by the institution. So the challenge that would be getting from my side, it would be the sizing, because you'd find that the graduation belt, they are of the same size or they are standard size, and then the client would be like, I want something that is going to be tight on me.
Yes.
Something that's going to fit me perfectly. So those are the challenges that I am encountering. So that's why now I'm gravitating towards having an in-house production where people will be able to make the alterations immediately when they are buying something.
If we invite you back in a year's time, where do you think you'll be?
I will be an official supplier of one of the leading institutions in South Africa.
Okay, so that's a specific targeted goal.
Yes.
Okay, well, hey, if you need them, legal robes, academic attire, medical scrubs, clerical robes, and all the other things, graduation scarves, ties, garment covers. Boy, there's a lot, and my guest is providing all of them. The company is called Boyd's House of Regalia. Wandise Boyd is one of our finalists in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. I hope you get some sleep. I don't expect that you will, and congratulations on the graduation. I hope it's a wonderful night.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so these are really, really a highlight of both my show and Bongani's as we meet entrepreneurs, people with vision, but as you're hearing now, people with incredible determination. So tomorrow, again, on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, a chance to meet another finalist. And remember, you can still nominate a local small business. The door is still open for excellence and ambition. These are people doing big things. Go to primemediaplus.com to submit your nomination. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com. It's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge may be impeached, and Malema wants to take legal action against the magistrate in his case. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Judicial Service Commission has overturned a finding of a Judicial Conduct Tribunal which considered a sexual harassment complaint against Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge. It has now replaced it with one of gross misconduct. Mbenenge faced a sexual harassment complaint from a High Court secretary who shared explicit text messages he sent her for more than a year, starting in 2021. The Commission says it will now consider asking the President to suspend Mbenenge pending Parliament's consideration of whether to institute impeachment proceedings against the judge or not. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
At a meeting on the 5th of March, the JSC met without MPs to consider representations from both parties. In reviewing the findings of the tribunal, the JSC says it believed it erred by finding Judge Mbenenge guilty of misconduct. Instead, it says on the common cause facts, the judge's conduct constitutes gross misconduct. This finding triggers cause for an impeachment. Accordingly, the JSC says it will now send its finding, together with its reasons and a copy of the report, to the Speaker of the National Assembly. In its report, the JSC says the tribunal failed to properly consider the impact of the relationship of power between the judge and the complainant. This, it says, was relevant to its assessment of whether or not his advances were unwelcome. In reaching its finding, the JSC says Mbenenge also showed no remorse for his conduct. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
EFF leader Julius Malema has threatened to take legal action against the magistrate and the state prosecutor in his firearm discharge trial. Malema has accused the pair of misconduct. The Kukompo City Magistrates Court sentenced Malema to 5 years direct imprisonment today. He addressed scores of party supporters after he was granted leave to appeal that sentence and released on warning. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
We must make sure that she gets reported to the Magistracy Council Commission, because the prosecutor knew about the judgment before she could read the judgment.
During his address to his supporters and party members, EFF leader Julius Malema made damning allegations against Magistrate Toinette Olivier and State Prosecutor Advocate Joel Caesar. He alleges Olivier shared the contents of her judgment where she convicted him of violating gun laws but acquitted his co-accused security boss Adrian Snyman. Malema says his then co-accused knew before court proceedings that he would walk free.
How did the prosecutor know that accused number 2 is not going to be found guilty to an extent that he tells him to go and fetch a firearm?
Malema says he will file formal complaints against both the magistrate and the state prosecutor to relevant bodies. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Gugombo City.
Meanwhile, AfriForum says it's satisfied with the prison sentence handed down to Malema, adding that it hopes the ruling will send a strong message. The lobby group brought charges against Malema after he discharged a rifle in public during an EFF rally in Mdantsane 8 years ago. Alpha Ramashwana reports.
3 AfriForum members attended proceedings at the Kugompo City Magistrates Court as it handed down a prison sentence to Julius Malema, a man they consider an adversary. Moments after the EFF leader was sentenced, the AfriForum delegation appeared visibly pleased with broad smiles across their faces. The lobby group's spokesperson on policing, Jacques Broodryk, says Malema's 5-year direct sentence is a victory for the rule of law.
We're very happy with how the court proceedings went. I think it was a fair trial, fair judgment. To be honest, I think the magistrate was very lenient, and I think it's something that Mr. Malema and his supporters should be grateful for.
However, Malema maintains that AfriForum is targeting him because of his political views and further accuses the organization of being racist towards him. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Kugompo in the Eastern Cape.
While in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is urging social media bosses to step up online child safety, Starmer hinted at possible measures limiting children's access to social media. He has told industry leaders he looks forward to working with them on new safeguarding measures, but insists there needs to be a change. According to reports, the government is considering restrictions on popular social media apps, with ministers under pressure to introduce an Australia-style ban. Australia became the first nation in December to prohibit those under the age of 16 from using immensely popular and profitable social media platforms. Gold is trading at $4,789.75 an ounce. The rand is at 16.34 to the dollar, 22.19 to the pound, 19.28 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $96.50 a barrel.
In the traffic in Polzov, traffic is sluggish on the N1 South between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. And if you are leaving Sandton, there's traffic pressure on the N3 South due to a stationary vehicle just after Vincent Shabalala Road.
In your sport, Proteas women look ahead to their rematch with India. Khalil Ben Youssef looking up after Kaizer Chiefs record their 5th consecutive win. And Switzerland fires ice hockey coach for fake COVID vaccination certificates.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 25. Pretoria 15 and 25 and Vereeniging 14 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The Judicial Service Commission has overturned a finding of a Judicial Conduct Tribunal which considered a sexual harassment complaint against Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
From the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between, it's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Enter now on Prime Media Plus. Let's talk shop.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, 8 minutes past 5. A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the last hour of the show. We are live in the place where you live, wherever that might be. And if you're listening somewhere interesting and surprising, drop me a note and tell me where we are coming into your life and where exactly you are as you listen to the show. We'll do our best to bring you all the very latest news as soon as we hear it, but do remember that there might be stuff that you know about, things you've seen, things you've heard, or indeed particular takes that you might have on the big stories of the day. All of the above and more, we are keen to hear from you on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. We've had quite extensive coverage and conversation about the sentence handed down to EFF leader Julius Malema that was down in the Magistrates Court in Kugompo City. Magistrate Toinette Willefeer handing down a custodial sentence to Julius Malema, the most significant of these, or two of the charges. There was no option of a fine, but crucially, one of those sentences is for 5 years. Leave to appeal the sentence, no leave to appeal granted on judgment on the conviction that can be dealt with by way of petition. How do I know all these things? Well, that's because we had an excellent interview earlier with Ntabiseng Dubazana, director of Dubazana Attorneys, answered all of your questions and more, and including the question as to what will become of Mr. Malema's position as a Member of Parliament. That's on stay, pending the outcome of the appeal. Sorry, any action to be taken against him in that regard is on stay. So in other words, he will be in the House. But if you missed that interview with Ntabiseng Dubazana, and it really was comprehensive, please do go to our website, primemediaplus.com. That's the legal side of it. But what about the political implications? I think there are many, but we're going to get the view of Dr. Ongama Mtimka. He joins us from Nelson Mandela University fairly shortly. We'll get him a little bit later on that. Some of you have got some things to say about spam calls. That's because we chatted to Duncan McLeod from Tech Central, where he is the founder and editor. Some new changes to the Consumer Protection Act should spare you some of the spam, but it's not entirely clear exactly how those are going to work. Some of you are getting in touch with us on this, and your calls, I'm assuming, are not spam.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John Chavlan from Hartfield. It's the worst thing about these calls. They're just waiting for an important call for us. Sometimes we've got these business with clients that's supposed to call us, and it's a 076 number or a 079 or something, the usual cell phone number. The moment you answer it, if you want client and what, please press 1. If I'm looking for something, I will call them. They must stop calling us. If I need something, I will phone them. I'll go look for something, or someone says, you want a contract phone. I've got a contract phone. Why do I need another one? And then they say a SIM card or something. No, I don't need it. Thank you.
Yeah, don't call me, I'll call you. 702 Drive. It's 12 minutes past 5. Let's get you home as smoothly as we possibly can.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Latest from the roads with Khumotso Munyai.
Thank you, John. If you are leaving Sandton, there's traffic pressure on the N3 South due to a stationary vehicle at Vincent Shabalala Road, and it is adding to those peak time delays. So if you could please just exercise a little bit of patience there. Also expect peak time delays on the M1 South from Killarney Bends heading towards the Crown interchange, while in the opposite direction, the M1 North is slow between Marlborough Drive and the Batlu interchange. Staying with Batlu, traffic is also sluggish on the N1 South between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. Look out for faulty traffic lights in Midrand at Old Pretoria Road and Olifantsfontein, as well as in Randburg at Malibongwe and the N1 South, in Woodmead at Woodmead and Woodlands, and in Tshwane. Traffic lights are also out in Monument Park at the R21 and Solomon Mahlangu Drive. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send us that voice note, 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Sitting in a traffic jam is as fun as realizing you replied to all by mistake on a company-wide email. Instant regret. But fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are on the roads, easing traffic congestion so everyone gets where they need to be quickly and safely. And they've been doing it for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using #PointsmenLove. Licensed insurer and FSP.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
My show is about your money, and it's about how people have made their money. But it's also about what happened to your money today, what happened on the JSE, what's happening overseas. All of these things, all about the way in which people make their money, spend their money, use their money, and in so many ways, use their money to make more money for them. What I absolutely love about the 702 family and 702 land is the huge warmth of people, the generosity that they show. But I also absolutely love the hustle. Anyone in business is actually trying to improve the economy. They're trying to have an impact on all of us. And there's a go-getting attitude to 702 land that you don't see in so many other places. That's what I really love about 702 land. That getting together and doing something new, and in the process, making money.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. It will leave you feeling overwhelmed. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours, and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim to make those important calls. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Hi, this is Michael Owen, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. Being a champion, I know the best performances come from making the right decisions on and off the pitch. Enjoy the game, enjoy the excitement, but play responsibly. Gambling responsibly is about staying in control so you can enjoy it your way. If you or someone you know needs support, help is always available. Call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counselling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Sometimes all it takes to reshape the world and deliver better outcomes is a little unconventional thinking. Black Sheep Thinking, powered by Camissa Asset Management.
Today's story goes back to World War II, where analysts examined returning bombers covered in bullet holes. The instinct was to reinforce the areas most visibly damaged. But there was one statistician, Abram Wald, who realized that they were studying the planes that survived. The real vulnerability was where there were no bullet holes, because the planes hit in those areas are the planes that never made it back. And so began a change for how aviation would be applied. Armor was added to engines and cockpits instead, and the aircraft survivability increased significantly, and it became a foundational example of statistical thinking and black sheep thinking.
Black Sheep Thinking, every Tuesday on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, powered by Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP on 702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
17 past 5. Let's continue our focus then on the sentence handed down to EFF leader Julius Malema. We've extensively looked at the legal what next, but we're going to explore now the political implications. And welcome to the show, Dr. Ongama Mtimka. He's acting director at the Raymond Mhlaba Center for Governance and Leadership at Nelson Mandela University. Dr. Mtimka, welcome and thanks very much for your time. I want to get your overview. We'll focus in a moment on the EFF itself and what this might mean for the party, if anything significant at all. But I'm just wondering, does this to some degree harden certain battle lines in our country around history and fairness and perceived unfairness in the criminal justice system broadly and the judiciary in particular? And if it does, are there any political implications that might have? Good afternoon to you.
Afternoon to you, John, and your listeners. You're quite right. Those questions are usually the questions we ask when leaders of opposition parties and democracies get held before the courts. But we need to be very careful here. Despite all the insinuations to the contrary, Julius Malema is not in court because he stood up to a regime that has drummed up some flimsy charges, and therefore he is there, which is the usual, cardinal sin in a democracy that is failing. Julius Malema is in court for indiscretion. He is in court for a well-defined criminal offense that's in our legal system, and the basis upon which he has been convicted and sentenced has been an interpretation of those laws. Whether or not that interpretation was correct, the courts, the higher courts, are going to determine. But we must be careful, John, as analysts, as the media, among others, not to fall into the traps that Julius Malema is setting of creating some revolutionary character to this process and martyrdom. This is purely an indiscretion. And by the way, if you follow all the cases in which Julius Malema has been held before the courts, it's never been about expropriation without compensation or any of the strategic political programs of the EFF.
Yes.
It's been erroneous and quite frankly, dubious tactics, which have got no value whatsoever in advancing an economic struggle. No value whatsoever without any fear of contradiction.
So, just to stretch the point a little, though, I mean, the politics of grievance is a well-worn path in South Africa. It certainly has been a very key, to my mind at least, fundamental part of Jacob Zuma's political career, particularly in more recent years. Does it not, despite what you're saying, have a certain amount of traction? You can question, as you have, the legitimacy of presenting it that way, but does it nevertheless have currency?
Julius Malema did an illegal act of firing an assault rifle in an event, and he's held before the courts for that and has been imprisoned for that. The grander themes have got nothing to do with the specific case in front of the court.
In terms then of the implications of this for the EFF itself, what do you see playing out here? Because at the moment, all eyes are on the appeal, and I mean we're literally hours out of into the new reality. Never mind, days or weeks. That said, does the EFF, while on the one hand looking to see how do we use this to advance our message, but also to advance sympathy and support for the party, they may face some logistical challenges. I would have thought their leader is going to be pretty tied up in legal matters.
Sure. I think two things. I'll try and answer from two perspectives. One, in terms of the leadership of the party, I think for the first time in its just over a decade history, the EFF is facing a time in which there's uncertainty about whether Julius Malema is going to be there and for how long. And that's the first time that both the rank and file membership and the support base of the party are being forced to grapple with that question, because the two instances where it was going to conferences and there were rumors that, Floyd might contest him, those instances he quickly dealt with through the firm grip that he has on the party. And the question of whether or not Malema is going to be available to lead the party hasn't lingered that much, at least among the rank and file membership internally in the party. Now, as far as the political party strategy is concerned, what I've never understood, John, about the EFF is that they have a compelling enough political program. They have a compelling enough range of issues that they are putting on the table, for example, around the slow pace of transformation of South Africa to become all-inclusive, to break down monopolies and ensure that you've got a truly functioning political economic system. That program has got merit in its own right. How they have continued to harp on the strategies and tactics of yesteryears in the songs they keep insisting on singing, as well as in the things like glorification of violence, which were legitimate tools of waging a liberation struggle, but irrelevant for what we need to do today. I just don't understand. It seems to me that they have no faith as a party that they can find ways in which to grow support by focusing on the core program that they have in their own strategy and tactics document. So it's always baffled me as to how much confidence they lack in the legitimacy, in the strategic relevance for voters of their core program. And so much so that even Malema's infamity in the White House, for example, now is more around his singing of Kill the Boer than it is about radical economic transformation.
A last question, Dr. Mtimka, with the little time we have left. How's this going to land in the African National Congress? Because there will be those in that party that are very much committed to the governing arrangements in the country as they are at the moment. There are others who I think have indicated clearly they would prefer to be in some kind of governing alliance with possibly the MK party, but certainly the economic freedom fighters. Will the party say anything at all? And if they do, will it be any kind of reflection of a unified view?
So while I may be in doubt about the capability of some people within the EFF to lead the party itself, I don't think the party is wanting when it comes to leaders who can play roles in coalition. And I don't think it would be fair for potential allies of the EFF to not want to work with the party on the basis that Malema is there or not there.
Yes.
But strange enough, talking about the ANC, I was interested. It was interestingly, I was saying, if this was the ANC, you would have people baying for Malema's blood and wanting to use this to trigger his departure so that they could take over the reins of the party. The EFF does have things about not bringing the party into disrepute, but what happens when the very strategies of the party actually do bring it into disrepute? So you can't really, want to force Malema to leave and resign because of issues of disrepute, even though they are there in the EFF constitution, because first of all, the very strategies of the party could lend themselves to being interpreted in that way. Secondly, tell me if there's anybody who would dare to play that card with Julius in the moment.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ongama Mtimka is Acting Director at the Raymond Mhlaba Center for Governance and Leadership at Nelson Mandela University.
The Clement Manyatela Show on 702.
The Clement Manyatela Show is about everything. It's about current affairs, family matters, the work environment, your health and wellness, relationship and sex issues that couples face. It's about learning, helping each other, healing, teaching. It's about life in essence. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is that we are quite intentional about doing life together. We're always pulling through for each other, learning from each other, always teaching each other. We're not scared to disagree, but also we're brave enough to be vulnerable with each other. We just care about each other, and I think that is priceless.
The Clement Manyatela Show, weekdays from 9 to 12 p.m.
The water crisis in South Africa is no secret, but on the 19th of April, a concert for water at Narok's Sculpture Park reflects on the urgencies and shared entanglements which connect and sustain us through water, essential for life. Musically created by DJ Bob, artists present a program selected and composed for the concert, including Paul Hanmer, Thandi Ntuli, Yonela Mnana, and others, with the resident grand piano in the Nyrox Gardens. Limited tickets are available from nyroxarts.com. NIROX is a private, not-for-profit foundation to benefit the arts. All income is used to maintain the grounds, the artist residency program, and artist support.
That's Tabo before he got naked. When Tabo's car broke down, he did what every manly man does best. Hit things, fiddle, and hope it works. So Tabo got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance in seconds and can now call roadside assistance anytime on the Naked app. Tools down, Tabo. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
EWN Business.
The very latest from the markets now with Muteo Juaripe, plus a look ahead to the Money Show tonight from 6 to 8. Muteo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. A second day running of weakness for the JSE, down 635 points. That was the all-share. Industrials were actually quite stronger on the day, but the banking and mining stocks are pulling down the local market. Valterra was down 5%, Northam down 3.5%, Implats down 2%, with Standard Bank and Sibanye Stillwater down 1.5% respectively. Rand at this hour, 16 Rand 42, sliding back against the US dollar, 19 Rand 34 against the euro, and you'll need 22 Rand and 22 cents to get a British pound. Price of gold is up slightly at $4,806 an ounce, or platinum is at $2,118. Brent crude is up 3% this afternoon at $97 a barrel. Then on the Money Show tonight, we have Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana on navigating a new global economic risk as the oil prices remain elevated. He is, of course, attending the World Economic Forum and World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C. We'll hear from him as we open the show. Then earning 50,000 Rand as a salary and still broke, how debt, jobs and social pressure is affecting South Africa's middle class. That conversation with Samantha Moyana, debt counselor and national debt advisors. We'll also have our investment school. How do you know if your investment strategy actually works or you just got lucky? Join us on the Money Show after 6 to find out.
Thanks, Muteo. Taking over in about 29 minutes' time. Let's get the latest news now. I'm Bali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Eastern Cape High Court Judge Selby Mbenenge could face impeachment after the Judicial Service Commission dismissed a judicial conduct tribunal finding which considered a sexual harassment complaint against him. While the tribunal found him guilty of misconduct, the JSC says it doesn't accept those findings and that his conduct, in fact, amounts to gross misconduct. The Commission says it will now send its recommendation to Parliament to consider Judge Mbenenge's removal from the bench. The sexual harassment complaint against him was lodged by a secretary in the Makanda High Court, Andiswa Mengo, who testified that she had been harassed by him between 2021 and 2022. There's been mixed reaction from political parties and organizations to the sentencing of EFF leader Julius Malema. The 5-year sentence handed down by the Kukompo City Magistrates Court today does not take effect now, as Malema was also granted leave to appeal the sentence and released on warning. But the court denied his request to appeal his conviction. Nkosi Kona Malingamnisi reports.
The Democratic Alliance and Freedom Front Plus were among the first political parties to react to today's outcome, saying the ruling shows no one is above the law. Their leader Jordan Hill-Lewis has called it a good day for the rule of law, but others have been very critical of the court's decision. SAFTU General Secretary Zwelinzima Mavavi says on X the 5-year sentence without a fine has left many in shock, adding that the principle of equality before the law was not upheld. Senior counsel and former EFF National Chairperson Dalimpofu, also on the same platform, questioned why the court expressed frustration at the logistical challenges Malema's case presented, arguing it could have been moved to another venue. Meanwhile, former MK Party MP Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, who's on trial on terrorism-related charges linked to the 2021 unrest, reacted on social media, simply writing April unrest with an emoji and question mark. Or see Kwana Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
The DA is demanding a parliamentary inquiry into Eskom's distribution agency agreements. DA Electricity and Energy spokesperson Kevin Malema says only 3 highly indebted municipalities have signed the agreements and the rollout has been stalled by legal challenges. The agreements allow Eskom to take over electricity revenue collection and management to resolve the over 105 billion rand in municipal debt. Malema says he will write to the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Electricity and Energy, Zama Kanyase, to demand a comprehensive inquiry into that rollout.
So the DA calls on the Portfolio Committee to summon Eskom for a comprehensive report on DAAs. Eskom must account for the lack of progress in signing these agreements, and we need a transparent breakdown of revenue collected versus infrastructure reinvestment in the 3 pilot sites. We also need to solicit feedback on municipal pressure points. We must determine whether these agreements are technically viable.
And in Burundi, police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of a minister. It's understood Gabi Bugaga's body was discovered in a vehicle by farmers. According to reports, images show the body collapsed sideways in the driver's seat of the damaged car. Bugaga worked in the communications departments of several national institutions before becoming a minister last year. The cause of his death has not been determined yet. A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 14 and 15 degrees and highs of between 24 and 25.
In the traffic, if you're heading towards Protea Glen, there's queuing traffic on the N12 as you approach the R558. And if you are leaving Sandton, there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 South.
The top story in EWN, Eastern Cape High Court Judge Selby Mbenenge could face impeachment after the Judicial Service Commission dismissed a finding which considered a sexual harassment complaint against him.
Drive home with John Perlman
On 702, let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So on this day back in 2018, Kendrick Lamar, who's won all sorts of awards across many music competitions, won one that has never been won by someone producing hip-hop music before. The Pulitzer Prize, many of you would better know it for works of fiction and non-fiction, and journalism also has a prize for music. Generally, the award has gone to either performers and artists in the realms of either jazz or classical music, but Kendrick Lamar's awarding of this prize was widely acclaimed, and some people saw it as being something quite a breakthrough. The Pulitzer Board, in offering the or announcing the prize, referred to it as a virtuosic song collection. That is his album from the year before, 2017, called Damn, unified by its vernacular authenticity and rhythmic dynamism that offers affecting vignettes capturing the complexity of modern African American life. Damn also, by the way, won 5 Grammys, so it was getting acclaim perhaps in more expected circles. The question we want to ask you, though, is the lyrical component of hip-hop music is absolutely crucial and justifiably celebrated, and I'm just wondering if you have a view on who writes the absolutely best lyrics in hip-hop. And you can go as far back as you like. Start thinking about that. We'll play you some Kendrick Lamar a little bit later in the show. But after that, we're wide open for your favorites and your campaign on behalf of the greatest, in your view. 23 minutes now to 6.
The Aubrey Masangu Show on 702.
I cover on my show issues of advisory, whether it is legal matters, whether it is financial matters. I cover day-to-day issues as far as current affairs are concerned. I cover the politics of the day and how we as South Africans are interpreting it. My listener is a curious 702 lander. They want to know what are the backstories, the stories behind what we are hearing on the airwaves. They want to understand what drives the different issues that have us talking. What I love about the 702 family and 702 land is the fact that we have 702 landers who are responsive, who are present, who care about their communities and who want to know how they can be a part of the process of making our areas better, but also our country better. And that for me is a great privilege. I am totally indebted to the providence out there to be talking to these people on a daily basis.
The Aubrey Masangu Show, weekdays from 8 to midnight.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries. World-class team of 1,111 with one mission, awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Some returns are worth the wait. Your favorite band, that binge-worthy series. And now, the return of Motor Select's Demo Deal Dash. From this Thursday, 16 April to Saturday, 18 April, get up to 100,000 Rand trade-in assist on any demo model. Hurry to motorselect.co.za or any participating Motor Select dealership nationwide. 3 days, one big return. T's and C's apply.
Too many learners are falling through the cracks. But on Monday, the National Education Summit 2026 is determined to change that. Join 702 live at the Gordon Institute of Business Science in Sandton as leaders, educators and policymakers come together to reimagine South Africa's education system, from early childhood development to entrepreneurship and vocational training. This is where real solutions begin. 702 live at the Gordon Institute of Business Science. Monday, 20 April from 9 a.m. The National Education Summit 2026 on 702.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John and your team. John, I don't agree with the sentiment that this was a racist judge, this and the other. When you check the rules and the law, 15 years is a minimum of the whole situation. And when you remember how Mr. Malema conducted himself during the trial, he didn't help the court either. And at the end of the day, we defend the people because it's someone that we like. We forget about the charges that it's involved. I don't agree with this sentiment that AfriForum this and this. The law is there for everybody, for all of us to follow. And in closing, John, at the end of the day, I think the judge was correct and he was lenient because most people get 15 years for that charge. If it was Joe Soap now, John, I'm telling you, you'll be in prison. So he did get privilege, even on top of this crisis that people want to make it while there's nothing, from Maxwell in Pretoria.
Yeah, thanks, Maxwell. I'm not sure 15 years is the minimum. That might be the maximum, actually. I'll need to check up on that if I get a moment, but if somebody already knows something about the law. The other thing I'm interested in, by the way, that Maxwell alluded to is, does the way you conduct yourself in court, is that a factor in the judgment that the judge will reach, first of all, on your innocence or guilt, but secondly, on the sentence that you get? My understanding is that it shouldn't. And if your behavior becomes improper in any way, or indeed unlawful, then that we move into the realm of contempt of court. But my understanding is judges should be able to see past that and stick strictly to the merits of the matter before them, both with regard to evidence, mitigation, and so on. So lawyers out there, we need your help. 18 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele, very good afternoon to you. Boy, there's a lot going on. There's Sevens rugby, there's football here and in Europe, and we've got a really great 5-day cricket series coming up.
Absolutely, John. And ahead of it, a lot of outfighters happy for the Proteas women to be facing rivals India in the build-up to the T20 World Cup later this year. The first of 5 games take place tomorrow, and South Africa go into it looking to end a concerning run of form which has seen them lose 5 of their last 6 T20s against Pakistan and New Zealand.
Haven't played them since that final, obviously, so definitely looking forward to a bit of a rematch. I think we play a lot of cricket against them, so know what they're about and sort of already have plans in place for some of their players, which is nice. But yeah, just really looking forward to this series. It'll be very exciting. I know that they play a very brave brand of cricket, and we do too. So I think there should be some really nice contested games.
Khalil Ben Youssef believes that a second-place finish in the Midday Premiership is possible for Kaizer Chiefs after they secured yet another win. They beat Magesi 4-1 to make it 5 consecutive victories as they boost their CAF Confed Cup qualification hopes. But they're now 6 points clear of AmaZulu in third position and have a game in hand.
We started the season, we said that we are managing every game, each game per game. It's as a cup game. Every game it's difficult for us. Every game we have to fight. The most important thing that we think only about ourselves, we think only about our performance. If inshallah we'll be in the best moment and we'll do the same performance like we did last few games, I think we need to win this game to confirm our position and to continue to fight.
Manchester City captain Bernardo Silva has confirmed that he'll leave the club when his contract expires at the end of the season. The Portugal midfielder has scored 76 goals and made 77 assists in his 451 appearances since joining from Monaco back in 2017. Last month's Carabao Cup victory was his 15th major honour with City, including the treble in the 2022-23 campaign. Switching over to the Sevens, where the Springbok women have been placed in Group B and will take on Australia, Canada and Great Britain. That's in the Hong Kong leg of the HSBC Rugby Championship. They're ranked 11th out of 12 participating nations, but Ayanda Malinga believes they can cause an upset.
In the pool that we have set our goal to win 2 games. It is possible if we all buy in towards it. So I think we are capable of doing it, and we proved in the Sevens too that we are capable of doing it if we are working together. So I think we'll go well this weekend.
And a Swiss hockey coach who admitted to using a certificate falsely claiming he'd been vaccinated against COVID-19 to get around China's travel restrictions for the 2022 Winter Olympics has now been fired. On Monday, head coach Patrick Fischer said he made a serious mistake by traveling to Beijing with the Switzerland men's team using false paperwork. The Swiss Ice Hockey Federation initially supported him, saying the case was closed because he had admitted to his mistake, but public pressure resulted in a change of mind as they confirmed the news of his dismissal on Wednesday. Tola Gelimganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 5:45, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. We're well into rush hour. I don't know if we're on the way out of rush hour or if we've still got a way to go there. What's your take?
Thank you, John. We're actually on the way out as the road seems to be clearing. The stationary vehicle that was on the N3 South has been cleared, but traffic remains slow in that direction. In Boksburg, traffic is heavily backed up on the R21. This is between Pretoria Road and North Rand Road. If you are heading into Soweto, that is Protea Glen, there's queuing traffic on the N12. This is as you approach the R558. You can still anticipate some slight delays on the M1 South from Killarney Bains heading towards the Crown Interchange. Look out for faulty traffic lights and 4 ways at Winnie Mandela Drive in Monte Casino, in Randburg at Malibongwe and Jim Foshier, in Woodmead at Woodmead and Woodlands, and lastly in Tshwane there are also faulty traffic lights in Centurion at the N1 and Witch Hazel. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send us that WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Things people stress about in traffic. Number 50 was, as per my last email, too passive-aggressive. Oh, the torture. Well, with the Outsurance pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabodja.
702 Afternoons is about all things in life, from music to inspiration. We get an opportunity to explore science, mental health, food. I almost feel like there's nothing we don't do on my show. One of the things I absolutely love about 702 Land and the 702 family is that we are so sharing. We share tears, laughs, smiles. We share in the amazing times and celebrate together as well. well. We have a range of topics, but when it comes to what we do cover on the show, absolutely everything. My listener is somebody who wants to grow, evolve, develop. They're empathetic, they are loving, they are so special that even when they don't have, they come through and share, and more importantly, they know how to walk the talk.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mapoja. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m.
Drive Home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Okay, let's spend some time talking about music, listening to music, and crucially getting your views on the question we're asking. So, we look at various dates on the music calendar, and it was 4 years. No, it wasn't. It was 8 years ago today. Boy, it's already 2026. Going fast. Anyway, way back, Kendrick Lamar was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for an album that had already won him 5 Grammy Awards. The album was called Damn. And it prompted a question for me because I must be honest, this is not a genre of music that I can even properly define or categorize or identify, but I've never really particularly got to know hip-hop music at all. And some of you may call in and say, well, this isn't even hip-hop. But anyway, let's work with my limited knowledge and ask this question before we listen to one of the tracks from the album Damn. This one's called Pride by Kendrick Lamar. Who for you is the greatest writer of lyrics in hip-hop music? Give us your thoughts on that, and obviously suggest a song that beautifully illustrates the person whose credentials, whose goatedness you are backing. Here's Kendrick Lamar.
But pride's gonna be the death of you.
Chasing new worldly possessions, flesh making, spirit breaking. Which one would you listen?
The better part, the human heart, you love them or dissect them.
Happiness or flashiness, how do you serve the question? See, in the perfect world, I would be perfect world.
I don't trust people enough beyond their surface world.
I don't love people enough to put my faith in man. I put my faith in these lyrics, hoping I make a band.
So there we go, setting the scene for the conversation and the question, and I won't call it a competition because everyone's going to have a different view. Best writer of lyrics in the world of hip-hop, that was Pride from Kendrick Lamar. 5 Grammys in the year after it was released, 2018. 702 Drive, it's 9 minutes to 6, 072 702 1702. If you want to send us your thoughts and give us your song selections, we'll play as many as we can.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
I cover everything on my show. We tell you what's happening in the world of entertainment, of sport, but principally, of course, news and current affairs. But we also pride ourselves on weaving a thread in terms of social issues. Our conversations aren't just about opinions and opinion shapers. They're also about our listeners, their lives, and their experiences. Our listeners are people who are thinking about the hard issues our world is facing, but they're also people who themselves are decision makers. So many CEOs or ministers get some of the information that they use to make their decisions based on what the show covers.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
No one gets fit overnight. It takes discipline, and your money is no different. A Nedbank 32-day notice account helps you build financial strength with up to 7.3% interest and 0 maintenance fees. The higher the deposit, the higher the return. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. For more information, go to nedbank.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank, we're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
New from the House of Suturing.
Ah, so stylish.
470-litre boot space. I need it.
Keyless entry, so chic.
Cruise control. Oh,
Bonjour.
4-year or 60,000 kilometer service plan? Oui.
The stylish, all-new Citroën Basalt is here. You want a piece of it. Starting from 354,900 Rand. Register now for limited deal assist of up to 40,000 Rand. Visit citroen.co.za. T's and C's apply.
In the world of finance, manufacturing, and mining, automating business processes is a crucial factor in stimulating an organization's growth and bottom line. Zoe Projects and Consulting, a specialized process engineering and automation firm, offers comprehensive data and business systems analysis to optimize your company's processes, to save time, reduce costs, and better efficiency. Go to zoeprojects.co.za and get in touch with Zoe Projects and Consulting today.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi John, Aiden here from Boksburg. With regards to that question, the best lyrics for me it will be, and it always has been, Eminem. From his first to his latest, he's been the top lyricist for me, producing different kind of rap styles and rap music, and just pure artistry with his work. So for me, it's Eminem.
Hey, this is Victor from Sunny Hill. Hi, Uncle John. I think the greatest hip-hop lyricists, writers, probably Rakim, known as The God, followed by Nas, Nasir Jones, and my favorite's Common. He's a great writer as well. There's quite a long list, but those would be my top three.
I'm internationally known when I be on the mic. I'm internationally known, yo. I'm internationally known when I be on the mic. All hail the honorable. It's to my real ill heavyweight hitters, go-getters, 50 ways to make figures. My they come on the spot to fail sisters like the handrail spitters, the kids on the ziggas. When it's ugly, then the club is lovely. Thugs be sipping Hennessy and bubbly. To my comrade, to keep it flaming hot on dangerous blocks, claiming spots where the goal is to be one of the top-ranked soldiers. 45 holders, one of the high rollers, get respect in the hood. Credit is good.
Off the album The Master, released back in 1999, the sound there of Rakim, When I Be on the Mic. Couple of people sending their suggestions as text messages. I will play another voice note in a moment, but Typical says mine has to be Juicy by the Notorious B.I.G. Sending that to us from Hammanskraal. Thank you. Quite a few other people punting hard for Eminem as well. And right at the beginning of the show, we had Typical who said, Jay-Z history. There he proves why he is a living legend. Greatest writers of lyrics in the world of hip-hop. Here we go again.
Hi, John. Wonderful show as always. I would like to just speak about Nasty C. Very much underrated and an amazing rapper, also worldly accredited. And there's just a particular song called The Four Horsemen, and he's with three other greats, Stogie T, Maggie, and Mags and Aries.
Dr. John, how are you? I don't know if you'd be able to get this one, but for me, it has to be Immortal Technique, Dance with the Devil. Man, that guy writes in such a way that brings you into the world of the narrative. So much so that when many of us, back in the days, when we heard the song, we wished that there was a movie that would follow up. That's just how beautifully he writes. Immortal Technique, Dance with the Devil.
I once knew it whose real name was William. His primary concern was making $1 million, being the illest hustler that the world ever seen. He used to movie stars and sniff coke in his dreams. A corrupted young mind at the age of 13. never had a father, and his mom was a fiend. She put the pipe down, but for every year she was sober. Her son's heart simultaneously grew colder. He started hanging out, selling bags in the projects, checking the young chicks looking.
Yeah, that reminds me of something completely different. That's the movie. That the piano sample there is taken from a movie called Love Story from 1970. It was a huge weepy hit starring Ryan O'Neal and Ali McGraw. I don't know, some people will remember it, people who are a similar age to me. We heard Jay-Z, that was put forward by Tebeko. History was the song he wanted to hear. Let's play it.
Now that all the smoke is gone,
lights out.
And the battle's finally won.
Give me a lighter.
Victory
lights us up. Lights us up.
History so long, so long, so long.
In search of victory, she keeps saluting me. If only we can be together momentarily, we can make love and make history. Why won't you visit me? Until she visit me, I be stuck with a sister. Her name is Defeat. She gives me agony, so much agony. She brings me so much pain, so much misery, like missing your last shot and falling to your knees as the crowd screams. Father of the team, I practice so hard for this moment. Victory don't leave. I know what this means. I'm stuck in this routine. Whole new different day, the same old thing. All I got is dreams. Nobody else can see. Nobody else believes.
Jay-Z bringing us to an end of the show of 702 Drive on a day full of news. So much going on, but always time for music. Thank you for your contributions. I heard some music I need to listen to again, and I certainly will. That's it from me, John Perlman, and the rest of the team. Have a great Thursday. Good night.
And now, The Money Show with Moteo Haripe.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Crotus is brought to you by Absa CIB. Discover the latest trends shaping digital assets across Africa. Download the Absa Africa Digital Assets Insights 2025. Tonight on The Money Show, earning 50,000 Rand and still struggling, South Africa's middle class debt squeeze. I will be talking to Samantha Moyana, debt counselor at the National Debt Advisors, right at the beginning of the show. And then Michael Zahari, co-founder of Laxity, will be talking to us about how luxury brands are struggling during this geopolitical tension that we're seeing between the US and Iran, and of course the mess around the logistics around the ships going around the world. Then we're going to be speaking to Finance Minister Inoko Dongwana. He's of course at the Springs meeting, the IMF and World Bank Spring meetings in Washington, talking about whether there's been any solutions coming out of those meetings to do with what we're seeing between the US and Iran, and what South Africa's response will be. Then we'll chat to Bisisiwe Mavuso, CEO of